And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. Thank y'all for joining. It's a whole lot going on out here in the streets, on the internets, everywhere. They finally broke up CHAZ Chop, crack, heroin, amphetamine zone, crack, heroin, opiates, pills, after, 21, 22 days, 3 full weeks, couple of murders, some rape, robberies, locking down the whole 6-block radius of Seattle, Washington. They finally broke it apart. Why? Because the so-called protesters, the so-called peaceful protesters came to the mayor's house. What are they afraid of? The protesters are peaceful, right? They should be happy to have them come to the mayor's house and spread their peace, right? I guess not. 48 hours after they came to her house, the whole thing got shut down. Predictable, of course, but typical of the left. You know the whole thing. Double standards, no standards. That's pretty much what's going on right there. Shout out to the St. Louis couple that defended themselves in their property. The husband went on Tucker Carlson and made his case, and he made a very good case, of course. I heard that he was on the Clinton News Network for some reason, and they didn't do a very good job of letting him explain his case. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I appreciate y'all for being here as always. Thank y'all. If you like the show, if you like what you're hearing thus far, give me a thumbs up on the video, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, if you're listening on an audio streaming platform, Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, whatever it is, give me a rating, 5-star over there. Give me a review, whatever you could do over there for me. I'd appreciate that. Also, if you are a first-time viewer, first-time listener, or whatever the case may be, or you just happen to not be subscribed, go ahead and subscribe right now to the channel. It's easy, it's quick, it's free. And when you do subscribe, click the bell as well so you get notified whenever I post a new video and or go live. Again, thank y'all for joining. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Men being able to have babies, I guess that's a new thing. I guess that's a new wave. The crazy part about that, before I get to CHAZ Chop, they say that men can have babies, right? But they don't make the distinction of transgender man, which is still wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. But they say that if you are a trans man, then you are a man. No, you're not. You are a woman that believes they're a man, that thinks they're a man. If you think that way, then that's your business. That's not my prerogative to really try to, cure you of your mental illness. But don't try to get me involved in it. If you identify as a helicopter, okay, cool. Let me know when you just pick up and fly over wherever you want to fly over, where you can fly over the Pacific, and you don't need any kind of airline ticket or anything like that. You don't need any gas, no airline ticket, no pilot, no nothing, no flight plan, no FAA clearance. If you could do that, then that's fine. Okay, I'm not even really tripping. However, I'm not going to get into the passenger side of your helicopter and then just fly across the Atlantic or the Pacific. I'm just not going to do it. The same way I'm not going to sit here and pretend you're a man when you are not a man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can all play pretend and play, but I'm not going to be involved with it if I don't want to be involved with it. All right. So that's that. But getting down to the nitty gritty, the whole CHAZ Chop kerfuffle has now ended. At least it's ended for now. It could resume later, I suppose. I don't think that it will, because right now that area is off limits, according to what the mayor, Jenny Durkan, has said. And, this is what I was saying for a long time. They could have been shut this whole thing down. It did not take that much. It didn't take an act of God to shut down CHAZ Chop. Okay. If you forgot what it stands for, it officially stands for the Capitol Hill Occupy protest up there in Seattle, Washington. But I call it crack, heroin, opiates, pills, CHOP, or its former name, CHAZ, crack, heroin, amphetamine zone, CHAZ, CHAZ. But anyway, I said for a long time, since the very beginning, they could have shut it down immediately. All right. It does not take that much manpower, that much firepower to shut it down. these so-called revolutionaries, these anarchists, they squeal like stuck pigs when you really get them into a corner, and they can't call the mommy for backup or support. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no actual reason to let them just do whatever they want. Go in there, smash them ASAP. They shut down the whole CHOP that's been quote unquote built up over the past 3 weeks in 30 to 45 minutes. It didn't even take 1 full hour. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you guys some neat little video of CHAZ being cleared out. All right. Now, I think this is pretty satisfying. This is like when you watch some of them. I don't know about you, but I watch some different kind of things on YouTube. Not nothing crazy, but I like watching carpet cleaning videos because it's satisfying to see the lines go on the carpet and all the dirt get just sucked up. I really enjoy stuff like that. I'm a 100% clean freak. I'm a neat freak, so I like stuff like that. It's satisfying to me. All right. So when I see videos like this, it kind of activates that same part of my brain that gets satisfied when I see certain things that are very pleasing. When I see them clean up human trash like this, the hippies, the dope fiends that are out there occupying CHAZ, it's very satisfying. So let's put it on the screen right quick. If you can't see the caption here, it says, Seattle CHOP, finally actions have consequences, crying snowflakes. Let's check it out. Oh, and to just give you the scene, if you can't see it, if you just listen to audio only, this is an aerial view. I guess somebody's in like an apartment or something above, and they're recording with their cell phone, and you could look down and see all types of just ridiculous chalk graffiti. How old are we anyway to still be doing chalk on the ground? Like, that's something. But anyway, there's a Seattle police van, and the police are putting some of these latte sipping heathens into the back of the van. Paddy wagon, whatever you want to call it. Check it out. So they're being dragged to the van. People are trying to protest, trying not to actually go, but it's like, nah, it's over with now. You've had your time, you've had your fun, but now it's over with. That's really, really satisfying. See people, get to squilling like that. There's one more I want to show you right quick. I've not seen this one yet, but I really, really enjoyed that one. Hold on. Now, this scene, if you can't see it, you have the police in force. And by the way, the police that came to CHAZ CHOP were from Seattle and Bellevue, from what I've been hearing from people that know what is going on. So not just Seattle, but also Bellevue, which is right across the water from Seattle. See how easy that is? So simple. It's not difficult to actually do. Once you get a unified force and everybody has what they need, then it's good money. There's no actual reason for this to have lasted as long as it did. Very simple. Okay, so this is the remainder of CHOP as of 8 o'clock or so a.m. Seattle time. Okay, so just a bunch of trash and stuff. And I think there's still a perimeter around where the precinct is. If you can't really see it, or if you can see it, there's a building on the right-hand side of the picture. Well, right-hand side that way. There's a building on the right-hand side of the picture that's boarded up. That's the actual police precinct. And in front of the precinct, there's still a barrier. All right. And what they're going to do is clean out the garbage within the barrier, all the tents and the hobo trash like needles and doo-doo and whatnot. They're going to clean all that up and keep the barrier right there so you can't get into there and try to do anything crazy. But there's an open lane for vehicles to be able to go back and forth. And the general area is cut off to the public. So I'm not sure how that's going to work if you have a business there or if you live there or whatever the case may be. Okay. But yeah, they're taking that whole thing back. So yeah, shout out to the police for making that whole thing get back to normal. But like I was saying, the mayor, Jenny Durkan, had no interest in this whole thing up until just recently, talking about, oh, it's a summer of love and, it's a block party atmosphere. But then you have not one, but two young black men get shot, killed Actually, not even young black men. One was a young black man, 19 years old, but the other, I guess you could call him a boy, right? He was 16. He was a minor. So a 16-year-old boy shot, killed, a 19-year-old man shot and killed, and then a 14-year-old boy got shot in ICU. He might mess around and die. So you got two kids that could die, and then a 19-year-old, almost a kid, might as well be a kid himself. Okay. When I was 19, I was first year in college, second year. Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about kids, all black kids. But I was told, somebody told me that the mantra, the motto, the slogan of CHAZ Chop was Black Lives Matter. You see it everywhere. Spray painted on the ground, written in chalk on the ground, all kind of big murals. They got the big sign on the ground that says Black Lives Matter. That's what I was told. But when I look and see who's been shot, killed, injured, I'm not really seeing how much Black lives really matter. The black on black murder rate in CHAZ Chop is higher than the entire left coast. So it's like, what are we really doing? Talking about they want to cancel the police. Why you want to cancel the police? The so-called security forces in CHAZ killed the 16-year-old and shot the 14-year-old. And allegedly, one of the so-called CHAZ guards pistol whipped one of the boys, or one of the kids, whatever you want to call them, one of the very young men. So what kind of police action is that? You're talking about brutality. I've never heard of a police officer shooting somebody through the window of the car, going up to the car, shooting him again, and then pistol whipping them. I've never heard about anything like that. Okay. Even on Rodney King, they beat him down, but it didn't kill him. They didn't shoot him and then beat him. That just didn't happen. Okay. And that was like a thing that caused a riot in LA that destroyed large parts of LA and around the country, quite frankly. So it wasn't even that bad in the Rodney King situation. So you're talking about police brutality and we got to have police reform. How about human being reform? What kind of person will beat you with their gun, will pistol whip you after they shoot you? Because they say they're security and they're the police force. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So all this Black Lives Matter stuff, you know what, at this point, Black Lives Matter is it's like a battle cry, Allahu Akbar. Prepare to die when you hear that. Basically, that's what's going on. So yeah, shout out to everybody in the building. Thank y'all for being here. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And if you have not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and do that. And when you do subscribe, click the bell so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. So CHAZ, like I said, is gone. It's a wrap. You can't even come back to that area. All it took was for the protesters, so-called protesters, to go to the mayor's house. Now, the reason why they went to the mayor's house is because they thought their demands weren't getting heard, their needs weren't getting met. So they were going to go straight to the house and demand them there. Like I've said before, don't come to my house. I have zero. I'm talking about zero. If I could give you a number that's less than zero and it actually exists, like a negative number, I have that much love for Jenny Durkan, the mayor of Seattle, Washington. I'm talking about negative, none, like less than zero. She needs to actually do a lot to gain more from me to even get close to zero, basically. Having said all that, don't come to my house. Don't come to anybody's house. Because when you do that, now you're going to have actual severe consequences, don't do that. Which is a great segue into my next point about my man. What's my man's name? I almost forgot my man's name from St. Louis, the McCloskeys, the husband in the McCloskey situation. I'm gonna get his name. It starts with, I think it's Mike or Mark. I'm gonna get his name right quick just so I'm not telling you the wrong thing. They are known on the internet as Ken and Karen, which is pretty funny. There's a lot of funny memes that have come as a result of this whole situation, but the situation is pretty serious. Okay, Mark McCloskey, that's his name, and his wife's name is Patricia McCloskey. They are actually lawyers. They're personal injury lawyers, and they have a beautiful mansion out there in St. Louis, Missouri. Pardon me. A beautiful mansion out there in St. Louis, and some of these so-called peaceful protesters decided, you know what, we're going to break into the gate and go on to private property. You cannot do that. Okay. Private neighborhood is all private property. You cannot be in there at all if you're not a guest, if you're not granted entry. To break into the gate and just go wherever you want, you can't do that. Like I said, don't come to my house. And they gave you the reality of what going to their house means. Now I'm bringing my gun out, my wife bringing her gun out. You could tell there was like zero gun training. You know, she flagging him with the gun, got her finger on the trigger, really bad trigger discipline. Same thing with him. He's pointing the rifle at her. He's like, that's not very good gun handling. But you know what? The Second Amendment is not just for those that have training with guns. You know, I'll say get training if you can get training, but the Second Amendment does not require that. You have the right to defend yourself. Period. We could say that it was sloppy. We could say that it wasn't that good as far as handling a gun, but that's really irrelevant when it comes down to defending yourself. They probably have had those guns since they started working on that mansion, which has been like 30 years. Probably had the guns that entire time and never had a reason to use it up until now when you have a mob of hundreds of people just descending upon your private property. What are you going to do? You living in a gated area, it's private property, you fearing for your life. You seeing what's going on all over the country with these so-called peaceful protests where they just end in chaos. The one thing that he said on Tucker's show, which really just made it make sense for people that it might not make sense for, is when they were seeing the protests in downtown St. Louis just get out of control. Okay, they live in St. Louis, they live in the city, so they're like, okay, if that's happening right there, it can happen here. It goes out of control and it just drags on and nobody came. Talking about the one that came from like early in June where David Dorn was shot and killed. You know, I did a video about that. 77-year-old black man who was called out to help his friend defend the pawn shop. You got a bunch of guys in there, other black guys, they robbing the pawn shop, and then they want to kill him over a flat screen TV. And the guy that got caught, long rap sheet, should have already been in prison. He was caught with the actual TV in his house. He probably was watching the TV when they came up in his crib and got him. Okay, but different story aside from the point. The point is that they saw all of that. They watched it play out live and nobody did anything about it. There was no police. There was no nothing that came out there to stop the whole situation from. So they knew, okay, look, if any of the so-called peaceful protesters come here, if any of the mob comes here, we're on our own. They're not going to be able to protect us. They've shown as much. So we got to get our guns. Go to the basement, go to the attic, get our guns, and get ready to rock if need be. That's what's going on, and that's what they did. People talking about, oh, they're racist. What racist? Like, I was seeing a mixed crowd out there in the mob. First of all, but second of all, like, really, first of all, they broke the gate. I don't care if you blue, green, red. I don't care if you're the American flag color. You understand what I'm saying? You could be every color in the rainbow. You could be Roy G. Biv. It doesn't really matter what color you are. You breaking into my gate, you're a threat. And if it's not just you, but 100 of you, the NPCs with the same kind of color, red, you could be every color in 128 box of crayons. It's irrelevant. The whole point is that you broke into my gate. You're on private property. You're aggressive. You're screaming. You're yelling. You're threatening me. I mean, what am I going to do? I have the right to defend myself and to defend my property. Okay, they were on their property, by the way. Let's not get that twisted. They were on their property pointing the guns. Their lawyers, been lawyers for 30-something years or more, probably 40 years. They know what they're doing. Although they're personal injury lawyers, they know what the law is. Okay, you can't just be a lawyer and not know what the law, especially if you're a successful lawyer, you know what's going on with the law. But anyway, they're going to not even have any kind of problems. However, the circuit district attorney, I think her name is, what's her name? The circuit DA, I'm going to find it right quick. She's like a super radical, and she wants to actually, Kimberly Gardner, that's her name. Kimberly Gardner, radical lady, wants to try and charge them with something. Mind you, only like 28% of the cases that she gets on her desk go to prosecution. You know, how many of those cases could go but don't, because she wants to give people a break. I wonder if she was a person that gave the guy a break that killed David Dorn. Huh? Like I said, he should have been in the penitentiary already. People like her would give guys breaks. There was somebody else who got a break too. I forget his name. It was one guy that got a bunch of breaks and then went and killed somebody. It might have been David Dorn. Yeah, I think it might have been him. So was it her that gave him all the breaks? Or, now, matter of fact, it was a judge. But people like the guy that killed David Dorn and many others are not getting prosecuted. They're getting, small little numbers as a revolving door. She's part of that problem. But now, all of a sudden, she wants to be, the scales of justice and throw the book at Mr. McCloskey. Because why? Because it's a racial thing, because Black Lives Matter. If you see the crowd, although they're there illegally, aside from that point, it wasn't even mostly black. It was white, black, a little bit of everything in there. So this whole thing about racism is just ridiculous. I feel like this is just being used as a cloak. It's kind of a shield. I can do whatever I want because Black Lives Matter, and I believe in the cause, so I can break into your house. I can threaten to shoot you. I can beat you up. I can punch you in the face. I could do whatever I want, and that's fine. Just like what happened at the statue of King Louis IX. The guy that was a king of France, the only king of France to become a Catholic saint, to become canonized, and who the city of St. Louis is named after. St. Louis, the actual King St. Louis, Missouri. But anyway, there was a protest right there for his statue. White guy getting beat up. Are the people that did that going to get arrested? Are they going to get prosecuted? What's going on with that? But you want to throw the book at Mr. McCloskey. It's crazy. They did everything right. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what color the people that own the home were, or what color the people were that came into the gate. If you came into the gate, you did wrong. If you're the property owner, you're the homeowner, you did right. Period. It ain't nothing else. Yeah, exactly. And nobody died. Nobody even got shot. Nobody even got hurt. And that's the whole point. The guns in this case were a deterrent. Don't come up here. If you think in your mind to make a little detour, because they were going to the mayor's house. They wanted to, so-called protest the mayor. And again, I say, don't come to my house. Just don't do it, because I got a little surprise. Like I said, you have this hole right here, all of your front forehead was turning taco meat. So just don't do it. But anyway, what are they going to get them on? Nobody got hurt. Everybody moved along. If they had the thought to go into their property, that got stopped. Because although they were going to the mayor's house, somebody could say, you know what? Hey, this is a big, beautiful mansion right here. Let's go inside, see what we can steal. And it might just take one person to have everybody follow them. And then now you got a big problem. I've seen that happen over and over again. Okay. It's only a matter of time before they go to just destroying like empty spaces and selling flat screen TVs to basically doing home invasions. I mean, it's a slight degree of separation between, B&E like at an empty space and just straight home invasion. There's a thin line between that. You might think, hey, it's a nice house. I don't care. We're in a rich neighborhood, and just go do whatever you want to do. Not at all. Oh yeah, that's something else, Debbie. Thank you for that. That's pretty important information. That I don't know what her title is. Kimberly Gardner, she's paid for by George Soros. Let a Soros money involved. Yeah, so she's part of the whole thing. She's part of this whole Black Lives Matter movement. You see, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, is not just those that are out there, acting the fool in the streets. It's not just them. It's also those that are in positions of power. The politicians, district attorneys, judges, people like that. They're also part of the so-called resistance. So it's much deeper than just, seeing some riots on the street. You got to get down to the core of the whole thing and dig it out from there and eliminate it from there. You may see just a couple of ants around your crib, but you don't see the entire nest that's over there. Hit the nest so you won't see any of the little ants causing problems or termites or whatever it is. You understand? Yeah, Tucker's the most watched newscaster. Tucker is the most watched because Tucker's probably the most honest or the most relatable, if that makes any sense. He's had a great time slot. What's it like, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Fox? People are getting tired of the fake mainstream media. They know it's all fake at this point. Even certain people on Fox are fake. We know it's fake. So it's like Tucker represents like some reality. And I don't agree with all of what he says. I like Tucker though. I don't think he's like 100% perfect, but I like him. I watch his show. And people, they really enjoy it. They think he's probably the last bastion of hope on mainstream TV, which is probably true. You know, if you watch any of the mainstream media aside from Fox, aside from certain shows on Fox, I mean, it's crazy. I try to watch nightly news on NBC with Lester Holt. It's terrible. ABC is even worse, and CNN is just, you know what that is. That's the absolute worst. CNN, oh my goodness. I can't tell you how much I hate CNN. CNN is the worst. They're worse than TMZ, Media Takeout. They've become lower than a tabloid. They're like National Enquirer. All right. At least ABC will have some things that are kind of true. Same thing with CBS. But CNN, my goodness, they're just terrible. Awful. Just totally ridiculous. Okay. So yeah, shout out to my man Tucker Carlson. Yeah, now I heard about Ed Henry getting fired. Now, Ed Henry, Fox News reporter, also like an anchor. I think he's on the morning shows I will watch. And I don't know what happened. They said he got fired over sexual harassment allegations or sexual assault allegations. I don't really know. I don't know what's going on, but he did get fired. It was kind of abrupt. I just saw him on the TV like yesterday. I just saw him, and now he's gone. They said they did an internal investigation and they found enough to corroborate whatever allegation was made, and they fired him based on that. I don't know anything beyond that. All I know is just what I know from that. Yeah. Oh, Leo Terrell. Shout out to Leo Terrell. He has had a red pill moment. He's still not really on the right, but he's more rational than a Don Lemon, or even he's more rational, in my opinion, than even a Juan Williams. And is Juan on the right or is he on the left? I can't really tell anymore. I don't really know. You know, you got some non-binary political people out there. I don't know what they are from day to day. One day they conservative, next day they liberal. I don't know what's going on. I try to stay pretty much consistent with my points of view so you're not confused at all. All right. But yeah. Now, what else we got going on? Oh yeah. Did you guys see my video about what's my man's name? Marc Lamont Hill on the Candace Owens show, and he was trying to tell Candace that men can have babies. It's like, sir, all right. What did I learn when I was a little boy in school? I'm talking about third grade, fourth grade, maybe even, I'm not really sure when I learned about, you know, boys and girls, all that kind. But at a certain point, I was a little kid, and I learned that only women can have babies. I learned that at a certain point. Only women can have babies. Men cannot have babies. That's what I was taught. I mean, is that now wrong to say? Am I bigoted to give biological fact, to say real information? It's weird how I said it before. The left will say, you know what? It makes you a bigot if you say that only women can have babies. It's like, what? Nah. How are you going to say that at the same time say that we don't believe in science if we doubt climate change? What science are you talking about? Whatever you want to believe in? Science says you got to be born a woman to have a baby. And then you try to use certain little word games talking about, oh, well, are you saying that all women can have babies? Not every woman can have a baby. You might have a hysterectomy. It could have just, you might not be able to have kids, but you must be a woman to have a baby, period. You could say that you're a man, call yourself a man, but it doesn't make a difference. If you were not born as a woman, then you cannot have babies. But for some reason, he's like, hey, you can be a man and have a baby. And the thing is, he's like, hey, if you are a trans man, you're a man, and that's it. No, that's not how it works. And, the crazy part is that he is a college professor. So imagine going to school and hearing this, that men can have babies in school, not just out on the street somewhere. It wasn't a random guy. He's an actual college professor, Temple University in Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But he actually teaches people this kind of stuff. It's like, no, this is not what we're going to do. We're not going to play along with this whole game. Yeah. Marc Lamont Hill. I think Marc Lamont Hill is smart enough to understand what he's saying is just not true. He's a smart guy. Matter of fact, beyond just that moment, it was a good conversation between the two of them. You know, I think we need more of that. People on the left, people on the right talking together. We need to have more of that rather than just having screaming matches on cable news. You know, have just a legitimate talk. I appreciated the talk that they had, but some things that he said were just totally bogus. And that represents kind of the hard line in between the left and the right. If we can't even agree on basic things like men cannot menstruate, men cannot have babies, then what are we even doing? All right. We got to be able to agree on some basic truths. All right. We can have a difference. We can say that, you know, the economic policy over here is right, is wrong. We could say that. But then when it comes to things like who can have a baby, who can't, we should be able to all agree that only women can have babies. Simple as that. Yeah, it's weird. It's totally weird. But he had he had overall a pretty good talk. I will say that. You know, I enjoyed most of their interaction. It's like an hour and some change long on PragerU. So if you've not seen that, check it out. Check out my video I did on that as well. And check out the website. I got an article about that on there. And I linked my video where I talk about the whole baby kerfuffle and also their video when they had the full conversation. 100%. Alrighty. But thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you like what you hearing so far, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Also, share the video. And if you're listening on an audio streaming platform, you can give me a 5-star rating. You can share it. You can like it. Whatever you do over there, I appreciate you guys for that 1000%. All right. Let me see. Rocky Miller says, Marc Lamont Hill is not a science professor. He teaches mass media communications. Well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, but see, here's the thing about it, though. You have science professors that say that men can have babies. Like this is academia. See, one thing about it, if you're in academia, you say things that fit a certain agenda. And for wrong, let me know in the comments. I could be wrong, but you say things that fit a certain agenda. You don't really say things that make sense because you having these kids that grow up today that will argue you to death about being able to have a baby as a man. They argue that. Now, where are they getting this from? Are they getting it from their teachers? Like, where is this kind of thought process coming from? See, I learned things in school and I, you know, built upon that as I got older and I carried it all throughout life. So if I was told a thing in school, I would build upon that and carry it through life. Now, I could have a red pill moment or something like that, but at a certain point, I learn something and I carry it through. And I think these kids are learning in school from science teachers that men can have kids. And it doesn't really matter what gender you are. You can have an infinite number of genders. That's crazy. You know, the whole pronoun game, you got to call somebody a made up pronoun. I could say my pronouns are Autobot and Decepticon. That's my pronouns. All right. And you refer to me as Optimus or Prime. And if you want to refer to me as something else, you call me a Transformer. I can say that. And if I say that that's my pronouns, and if you don't call me that, you're a bigot, you can get locked up in certain parts of the world. That's what's going on. We got to put it into that for sure. All right. But what else we got going on? There's a whole lot happening in these good streets. There's one thing I wrote down here that I wanted to talk about right quick. Oh, yeah. The Family Guy actor quitting because he's white. Who knew that the Family Guy actor was actually white? I had no idea. I mean, pardon me, for Cleveland Brown. So the Family Guy actor that plays Cleveland Brown for like the past 20-something years is a white guy. I had no idea. And he quit, allegedly, or was asked to step down, probably quit because he's white. Now, how does it make any sense? I had no clue that he was white. I enjoyed the character. I enjoyed his show, the Cleveland Brown Show. I enjoyed it. I would have never known that he was white. Why does it even matter? We're talking about voice acting. You can't even see the person. You see the character. That's what matters, the character on screen. Talking about, oh, it's got to be a person of color that does it. Like, why would you even do that? And if you get the job, you're getting it because you're black. You understand? Like, I don't want to get a specific job like in the entertainment industry or something like that because I'm black. Like, if I'm good at doing what I do, then do it. If it makes sense because my voice matches the character, then let's do that. But, I mean, if you have a talented guy that's been doing the role for 20-something years, people love the character, and then he says, okay, I'm going to quit and hire the black guy. It's like, come on. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if they hire another person, if the guy quits just randomly and he happens to be black, then so be it. But this whole thing of having a prerequisite that a white guy sets who quits his job to put in another black guy, I don't really understand. It's crazy. And you're seeing the whole thing, you're seeing the same thing happen all over the place. And the craziest part, you have these so-called, these biracial characters in other shows, and the voice actors for those characters are white, and they say, okay, we're going to quit this role because we need a person of color to do it. But if the person is biracial, that's half black, half white, right? So if you're a white person, why can't you play their role? They're half white. If you're a black person and the character is half black, it's the same thing as a character being half white and a white person playing it. You see what I'm saying? If it's about race, then why can't you play a biracial character if the character is half white? They're half you. The same as they would be half somebody else. The funniest part would be if they put on like a person that's not even black or white, but is quote unquote of color to play the biracial character. It's like at that point, we just kind of doing things that don't make any sense. If you can voice the character, you're doing a good job, then so be it. My only thing would be if you decide to have a live action show with actual real people, and you say you do something in Sweden in the 9th century, okay? You got Vikings and whatnot, and I see Samuel L. Jackson with a blonde wig on the ship. Okay, doesn't really make any sense. All right, we're talking about Sweden in the like medieval times or whatever. It doesn't make sense to have a black guy with a wig on. You know, I just don't understand how it makes any sense. Now, if it were a cartoon about Vikings and everybody looked like Vikings, they're blonde hair, blue eye, 8 foot tall, whatever, the big braids, and you have some people that are not white voicing the characters, it might make sense. But it needs to make sense in context. Okay, if I got a Black Panther thing going on and everybody should be African, and you got Colin McGregor in there with some box braids in his hair, that doesn't make any sense. But if there's a voice of a character in a Black Panther cartoon, that person not be black, and it makes sense, then go for it. Because what makes sense the most is what's on screen, not what's behind the screen. It'd be the same thing as saying that you can't have any white guys produce Black Panther. Why does it matter? It doesn't. Give me a thing that makes sense on the screen that visually just kind of goes together. That's all that really matters. I'm not really worried about who's behind the scenes that I can't see. I'm not really worried about where it's filmed. They film something about Black Panther in like Canada or something. I don't care. It's not in Africa. It's got to make sense on screen. That's it. Very simple. Yeah, affirmative action. I'm not a fan. Affirmative action, I'm just not really a fan. Just make it make sense. Don't have it be this whole racially, categorized thing. Oh, you know what? Shout out to Brian Dunham. He said, talk about Mount Rushmore. Some people say it's racist. Yeah. I've been saying this whole thing about Mount Rushmore. That'll be next. People say, oh, with the Confederate flag, it's no big deal, ABL. They lost the war. Why are you trying to defend the white man? Now they're going after Mount Rushmore. There was a tweet from the Democrats. I think they're like the official DNC Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But there was a tweet that was out there talking about July 4th is white supremacy and Mount Rushmore needs to come down. But it got deleted. But when you put something out there from like an official platform, it's not done just for no reason. Okay, there's a thought process behind it. There's a campaign behind it. Don't be surprised if on July 4th, which is coming up in about 2 or 3 days, don't be surprised when you see protests all over the country talking about, the founding fathers are racist and everything else. Don't be surprised when you see more monuments of Civil War heroes, people that fought against slavery, abolitionists. Don't be surprised when you see those defaced. Okay, they already defaced Abraham Lincoln, the Black Civil War regiment that fought for the Union, that got defaced. Don't be surprised when you see more defacing. Why? The first ball to drop was a Confederate flag. I said it. I was like, yo, if you give up any ground on the Confederate flag, the next thing will be George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I said that years ago, actually, on this channel. I got video evidence of me saying it years ago. Confederate flag will be first, then it'll be the American flag. Martin Luther King will be next. Jesus will be next. There was a protest against King Louis IX. Oh, he's an Islamophobe. He's anti-Semitic. What? because of its involvement in the Crusades, which is totally just not even the real, like the Crusades pale in comparison to the Muslim conquest of Europe, Middle East, everywhere else. Islam spread by the sword. Christianity spread by like missionaries and whatnot, not by the sword, not by the gun or anything like that. But different story. I digress. My whole point is that the Crusades were nothing compared to Islam and what they did. But anyway, he's anti-Semitic, Islamophobe, or whatever. That's going to be next. And then go all the way to the chop. Say Jesus himself was a bad man. You know, that will be next. MLK, everybody else. It started with a small little ball at the hill, and then it ran down, collected snow, and now you have a giant boulder of snow crashing into everything it sees indiscriminately. You don't care about the Confederate flag, George Washington, black civil rights icons, heroes. It don't really matter. They're talking about the statue of Abraham Lincoln in D.C., saying that it's racist, even though it was paid for by former slaves. How are you going to be a person that's not even black, 9 times out of 10, telling former slaves that they're wrong to buy their own statue with their own money that they worked hard for? Like, where are we at nowadays? It's really weird. It's really strange. Okay. Super chats on deck. I'm going to get to those right quick. Hold on. I'm going to read some more of the chat right here. But yeah, Mount Rushmore, they're going to try to blow that up. That's going to be the next target. And it's not hard to really see. Somebody says, will there be another civil war? Nah. Civil war ain't going to happen because give them a little bit of force, a little bit of kickback, they'll fold like sheeted paper. They're totally just fold up because you saw that in CHAZ. For 3 weeks, it looked like they had the upper hand. They could do whatever they want. They could smoke their drugs, get high, scream, yell, shoot, do whatever they want. That's the way it appeared for 3 weeks. And then here come the police. And half hour, 45 minutes, all over with, done. They stomped it down that quick. No federal forces needed. Just local police came in there, smashed it instantly. Okay, all you got to do is just fight back. Have the police be able to fight back. And that's it. Civil war, where? These people will fold instantly when any kind of force is given in their direction. All right? Ain't gonna be no civil war because it takes, right now you have one side fighting the other side not really fighting. One side is at war and the other side is not. Now, if the other side fights back, there will be no more fighting. That's what's the reality of the situation. Okay, a civil war would be both sides are fighting hard, and that ain't gonna happen. One side's fighting because ain't nobody fighting them back. It's like a bully, like I said before. If a bully keeps harassing you, punch you in the face, you hit him one good time in the jaw, knock him down, and then it'll be over with. He's only bullying you because you're not doing anything to fight back. That's the situation that's going on. Okay, that's all that's happening, period. Sheet of paper, Randy, sheet of paper. They'll fold like a sheet of paper, just, like origami, pretty much. All right. Super chats on that. I'm going to get to those, and then we're going to get to the calls. Thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are the best audience on the internets, on the YouTubes. Thank you to Nancy O for becoming an ABL supporter. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to Jesse Dominguez for your donation. I appreciate you. Thank you to Christian JR, who says, there once was a youngin from Choppy. He wanted to be free of Copsy. He was buck wilding out, ended up with some clout for causing his mama teardrops. You a poet, you didn't know it. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Jobu Needs a Beer for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Retro Gamer 81 who says, more like Summer of Blood, Jenny in jail. Hey, I don't know, can't call that one. Thank you to Zachary Titian, hopefully I didn't butcher your name, who says, disagree with you on most, listen to hear other POVs. Hey, it's all good. I'm glad you're here listening to the show at all. Thank you for your donation and your very kind words. Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to C. Balks, or artist producer, who says, the CHAZ experience, Trolls World Tour. Thank you to Curtis Reynolds, who says, God bless you. Thank you for your donation and definitely appreciate you, boss. Thank you to my man, Jericho Green, who says, BLM ain't S with the emoji. Thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you guys. And you guys, I say it all the time, subscribe to Jericho Green. You're not going to regret it if you do. Subscribe to Jericho Green on YouTube right now. Thank you to Adam Bull, who says, take off the masks, resist this nonsense, sign of submission. That's what it is. They're talking about mandating masks right now. For what? We didn't went throughout the whole year with no masks. Now we got to wear a mask. For what? They're talking about requiring masks in Knox County, Tennessee, which is like Knoxville, ain't too far from where I live right now. For what? There might have been like 10 deaths in the whole county. The last death from the virus was in April. So what's the point in wearing the mask? For what? What are we even doing? It's so many contradictions. You could be out there at the Black Lives Matter protest, and that's not really a problem, elbow to elbow. No social distancing or nothing like that, and that's fine. But just regular normies, now that the virus, now that the rallies have died down, you got to put the mask back on. It's so dumb. You can put your mask on only if you are not going to a rally or a protest. If you go to a rally or protest, put one on maybe. It's recommended you put one on, but if you go to a grocery store, it's required that you put one on. But not to a massive protest of like 20,000 people. They're talking about spikes in cases, but anybody talking about how there's been all these protests around the country. Oh, it's not spiking where there's protests at. Well, you're not actually allowed to ask if they've been to a protest when you're getting tested in these places. And who knows if they travel somewhere else, went to the big, they went to the big protest from somewhere else, went back home and then spread it that way. Who knows? Nobody really knows. Then they're talking about a spike. How do we measure spikes? Are we testing the same people that we tested before? And okay, like let's say you do a test in a particular place. You test 10,000 people 1 week. And then the next week you test 50,000 people. We're not talking about how many we're testing versus how many new cases we have. We're talking about spikes in cases, but not the number of new tests. It doesn't make any sense. Thank you to Adam Bull, who says, the Gore 54 Miller, who says that mayor has blood on their hands. She must be held accountable. Talking about Jenny Durkan. I think you're right about that. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Marie Stark, who says, why don't they comply? And hey, good question. Talking about those that were trying to get put into the paddy wagon earlier. I guess they still think they have a right to not comply with the police. I guess I'm not really sure why else they would not comply. Thank you to Jam Jam, who says, becoming a member of the ABL team, becoming an ABL support. Thank you for that. Thank you to Eduardo Tavares for becoming, for the cool emoji. Thank you for that. Thank you to Eduardo again for the donation. And he also says, thank you for your hard work, Eddie from the BX. And no problem, man. Thank you for your support. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you to Unpopular Opinion, who says, ABL, do you think the deep state is powerful enough to rig a possible Trump loss, even though there's a majority vote for him? I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible. I don't put it past anybody to do something like that. The deep state or whatever. You know, they're trying to do this whole vote by mail thing. It's easy to fraud that. They were trying to fraud the Trump campaign thing with so-called fake seats, which ain't a real thing. But they were trying to do that. So it wouldn't be a big quantum leap to try and fraud the election with mail-in votes. You know, that's the main thing they're trying to do right now. That they're trying to make it to where voting is less secure for their own purposes. At the same time, they say that Trump is colluding with the Russians to engage in voter election interference, but they want to have less secure elections. Make that make sense for me. Thank you to my Restart for your donation. Thank you to Justice Smith, who says it's official. They're changing our flag. What, Mississippi? I think I heard about that. It's crazy. Thank you to Nippon, who says, even I could beat Creepy Uncle Joe in a debate. Yo, Creepy Joe, you know what? I've been watching Creepy Joe have these talks or whatever he's doing, these little conferences. He looks terrible. He looks absolutely terrible. It's a shame that they got him out there. He's looking progressively worse. Every time I see him, he looks worse. He's not improving. He's declining rapidly. So he shouldn't be out there doing anything, talking about trying to become the president at all. You know, it's cruel and it's unusual punishment to put him out there. It's elder abuse. And I'm being dead serious, not even trying to joke. Thank you to Sylvia Wong for the Superman emoji. Definitely appreciate you for that. Thank you to Matthew Phillips, who says, good on the McCloskeys defending their property from invaders, but Mark states he still supports BLM. Is he a fool? They'll still vote Democrat? Yes, apparently. You know, apparently, like, I'm not sure if he is an actual Democrat that supports BLM or if he's just saying that so he won't get his house burned down. I'm not really sure. But if he is a liberal, he is a fool, because you saw what these liberals do. You know, the radicals, of course, but who gives way to the radicals? The liberals in office that do nothing to stop it. That's what's, yeah. So he'd be a fool to still vote Democrat. Thank you to Brett Sessoms, who says the STL couple had a right to protect their lives and property. They also have a right to bear arms. All of those rights are constitutional. Exactly. 1,000%. So ain't gonna be no jail time for them. Thank you to Bets K for becoming an ABL supporter. Definitely appreciate you for that. Thank you to David N, who says, shout out from Canada, ABL. My brother and I have been watching you for a while and love your content. Keep spreading the truth to the masses. Will do, man. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Thank you to Veggies in Vegas, who says, love your channel, ABL. Just wanted to send some financial support. Appreciate your consistent videos and the time and effort you put into them. Hey, thank you for your donation and your very kind words. You know, I do put a lot of time into it. I make sure they're right and factual and just what you guys are needing, because I know that it's just not enough real information out there. Thank you to Tylex001, who says the quote unquote allies are crazy. I grew up in Detroit. The black friends I had didn't need no allies. How can you get to people that black folks are just people? It really ticks me off. Respect is all it takes. Yeah, some people just don't really understand. They think they gotta, engage in some kind of charity act with black folks, but it ain't like that. Just be a regular person. Just be a regular human being and nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. It's really simple. Thank you to Ron Rahim, who says, do you think the spread of the coronavirus in the South will have a negative impact on Trump's reelection? I'm not really sure, because one thing they're not talking about is an uptick in deaths, because New York City had a crazy amount of deaths, like 24,000 deaths. The cases are going up in the South, but the deaths aren't. So what's really going on? I think New York City had a problem with the strain being aggressive because of the close quarters they were in. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of guessing, but New York City was kind of an anomaly. It's not like that in other parts of the country. What's going on right now with the virus in most of the country is equivalent to the flu or anything else. So it won't really be this big problem because it won't be a large amount of deaths. And the more positive cases we have with less deaths, you're going to have a much lower mortality rate. So thank you for your donation. Shout out to, let me see, Blonde Mom 93, who says, how do you feel about the new mandatory mask policies in public places? And do you think it's unconstitutional? I'm not sure about the law part, Constitution or anything like that. It could be, but I don't really know that. But I'm not a fan of it, not at all. I think if you want to wear a mask, then wear one. That's your right to do so. And if you don't, that's your right as well. So no, I'm not really a fan. And it's kind of dumb because here we are, it's July. The virus been around since November for real, because it's been here. Like it was here in the States before January. I'm talking about probably November, December. So we're like in month 8 or 9 of the virus. Why wait until now to do mandatory masks? Especially in a warm season. We know that heat kills the virus. So what are we even doing? I don't understand. The death rate is not going up. So, the cases are going up, but the death rate ain't. So I don't really get it. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to the Paul Mogetic, who says, strong work, ABL. This is the product of relativism. When you dump rational thinking processes, the world no longer makes sense. Exactly. Thank you for that. Thank you to Next Online for your thumbs up. I appreciate you. Thank you to Maxwell Griffin for your donation. Thank you to Hard, who says they want black voice actors speaking in Ebonics. Yeah, they want that. Thank you to Lee Vet 93, who says, Anthony, I'm surprised they have not gone to Robert Downey Jr. for portraying a black man in Tropical Thunder. What do you think? He's a weird case. Robert Downey Jr. for Tropical Thunder. That's a really strange case. I thought that might have been a big time reaction right away. He could be protected. You're talking about Disney, a big IP, Iron Man, Captain. Yeah, so he's protected. So there's not any kind of if there's any kind of backlash against him, they could easily squash that online. That's kind of a guess. But aside from that, I'm not really sure. I think the reality is people don't really care about these things. They selectively pick what they're going to be outraged over and then get outraged over it. But they don't really care in general because it's not really applied evenly to people. You see what I'm saying? Even the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel and everybody else, it was not really a big outrage. There was a minor dust up, but it went away and it's fine now. Okay, same thing with Ralph Northam and everybody. It was minor dust up and now it's fine now. He's still the governor, so we didn't care that much, or they didn't care because they voted for him. But anyway, thank you to Cocktamer72, who says, if Mount Rushmore comes down, it will be a real war with Russia or China. These so-called peace protest fools. Exactly. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Alan Lee, who says, ABO, have you heard about the Time Magazine article comparing superheroes to racist cops? What does this mean for the future of woke Hollywood where they start making billion-dollar movies for the mob? I have not seen that, but I got to check it out because that is ridiculous. That is like, how are they even linking the two? How do those things make sense together? I'm not really sure how that makes sense. I don't really see the correlation. I'm going to check it out. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Lookout Tower Radio for your donation. Thank you to the Pomo Get It who says these folks know no restraint to their passion. That's why you have to be a Churchill, not a Chamberlain. There you go. Thank you to Zachary Teachin, who says he also voices Consuela, the Mexican maid, and John Herbert, the senior pervert. Love Family Guys. Had to see this when he stopped voicing because she's Latina. You know what? It's only Black Lives Matter. That's all that it is. So Cleveland Brown, he's the only one that counts. It's so weird. They talk about people of color, then they say black at the same time. It's just so confusing. I'm not really sure what's going on. You're talking about the guy that quit the voice acting role of Cleveland on Family Guy because he's white. Yeah, he's talented. I didn't know he did the Mexican maid, the woman, and also Herbert the pervert. He's very talented to do all those voices and have them sound very different from each other. He's a comedic talent, really. It's a shame that he had to do that or that he chose to do that, whatever the case may be. Thank you to Twyla McKee for becoming an ABL supporter. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Dante1 who says, I hope Americans took a good look at the CHAZ insanity and vote accordingly. Right on point. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to Devin T who says, love what you're doing, brother. Keep up the great work. Will do. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Steve Kelly who says, I will wear a bacon mask. Thank you for that. Shout out to C. Perry who says, big media is the election interference all day long. You already know it. 1000%. And, E, like electronic media as well. The social media, your Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of good. That's the real election interference right there. Thank you to Miriam Vidal who says, the liberals are after your gun like you're some Antilla the Hun. If you don't stand and fight for this guaranteed right, you'll lose every right one by one. Exactly. Thank you to you Eyeball who says, no sir, thank you. Thank you to Ulysses who says, Christopher Columbus Day is being fought to be replaced by Juneteenth, supposedly. Really? You know what? I grew up hearing about Juneteenth from my dad because that's his birthday. And so is my uncle's birthday on Juneteenth. So I knew about it my entire life because of that reason, because we celebrated because it was my dad's birthday and everything else. But nobody else spoke about it ever. I'm talking about ever. Not my friends, classmates, TV, nobody. It was not a very commonly known thing. Now, a lot of black folks know about it, but how many of us is it in the nation? Like what, 13%? And then how many of us actually knew about it? Even less. So you're talking about an obscure holiday. It was not very widely known. So it's hilarious to see now all of a sudden it's this big thing and they want to elevate it to Christopher Columbus. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Shout out to Cross who says, Florida sheriff talking about deputizing citizens if protest gets violent, not sure what it's supposed to do. We already have Second Amendment. Much love, ABL. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Maybe they have different things they can do and get away with. I'm not really sure. That's a good question, though. Thank you to Steve Kelly, who says, hold on, I lost it right quick. Let me get back to it. I am bringing my gun out. Shout out to Beth Marie Evans, who says, if you have to wear a mask, wear a Trump 2020 mask. Oh, yeah, all day long. Thank you to Michael Oberdorf, who says, thanks for being you with the emoji. Most certainly appreciate you for that and your very kind words. Thank you to Brett Sessoms, who says, the land on Mount Rushmore was illegally taken by the USA from the Sioux. But before that, the Sioux illegally took the land from the Cheyenne Indians. Funny how that works, ain't it? Just like the whole thing in South Africa. It's talking about the Boer took the land from the black man, meaning the white farmer that came from, what was that, Netherlands or whatever, or Belgium, wherever they came from. They took the land from the blacks that were already there. But when you say blacks, what are we talking about? Because being black in Africa is not the same as being black over here. Being black here in America, you're pretty much just the same. You're just an American, right? But go to Africa, you have different countries and different tribes, different regions that these tribes live in. South Africa was originally inhabited by the Bushmen. Then came the Xhosa and the Zulu from Central Africa. They migrated down to South Africa. Some of them came after the white man came. So if the Zulu and the Xhosa are talking about, hey, can we get the land back? Wait a minute. You came after we did, so it's not your land. You trying to take the land from the Bushmen. So what's really going on? Thank you for your donation. Shout out to Senior Smurf, who says, just keeping it real. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Hannah for your donation. Shout out to New Way Bossa Nova for the one-up donation. Shout out to Austin Bounce House Reynolds, who says, America is safe as long as voices like ABL are out there. Thank you. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Most certainly appreciate you. All righty. Let's get to the calls. You guys are the best audience on the internet. The number to call as always is 434-658-1220. Again, right there, 434-658-1220. The number is in the description box as well. If it just kind of goes by right here, you can't catch it. There's also the ability to call on Skype, and there's an email for that in the description box below. All righty. So let's get to the calls. If Skype wants to act properly, hopefully it does. It never does, though, so it is what it is. All right. But it's a whole lot going on. Yeah, Shaka Zulu was a serious warrior for sure. But, people talking about this whole white versus black thing, that's really just myopic, really short-sighted, doesn't look at the whole situation and what's going on. We need to have a more detailed view about what slavery was like and what civilizations are like, and just, more about reality rather than just this fantasy world that we try to live in today. That's my request. Okay. All right, call you on the line. We'll speak to 214. 614.
Stuart calling from Australia. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got a little bit of noise in the background. Turn speakers down for me.
No, I just wanted to ring up. I just recently discovered your channel by mistake, but I just wanted to say you got to keep up the good work, man. This is absolutely unbelievably good stuff.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I work pretty hard to give out some real information that's needed out here. So I thank you for your recognition.
And we've had a lot of the same sort of trouble down here with the BLM marches and the race baiting and trying to be divisive and all that stuff. So it's just really sad the way things are at the moment. And with voices like yours, it gives a bit of hope.
So what's the issue in Australia?
Well, BLM have been marches. It's not just about the American, what went over there with George Floyd and all that. We've had protests here about the treatment of Aboriginals, which has been going on for a long, long time. And one of the things they want to do is similar to America, is they want to change the date, Australia Day, which is the date that the first fleet landed here, which is the 26th of January. So So the people in the community saying, well, they should change it because that was the day that the fleet landed and killed all the Aboriginals and took their land. Now, as you can't go anywhere in the world and tell me that there's not a nation that was formed on, that sort of thing where, the mistreatment of coloured people. So, it's just sort of the same thing, and we're fighting that sort of thing too. We all love the Aboriginals, and we all want to get along with them, and so it's not an easy thing.
Right? Yeah, of course.
But we get, we've had the BLM been. We had a spike in COVID cases, supposed spike in COVID cases after two big rallies in Sydney and Melbourne, and the State Premier of New South Wales wants to now close down the next BLM rally. But as I said, and I'm sure you agree, is that they're just, the BLM, all they're doing is race baiting and, promoting nothing but hatred. I mean, no one talks about the Minneapolis police with the Justine Damon case, or all the other whites over there that were getting treated badly, police. Same here. We get just as many whites and Aboriginals and other cultures that get just as badly treated by police in custody. And that's one of the big talking points here, is the number of Aboriginal deaths in custody as well.
Now, is there a big crime issue with Aboriginal people?
Not to speak of. But the Aboriginal population in Australia is very low percentage, probably about 3 to to 10% in Australia, and mostly the Aboriginal people are in the outback region areas or in really far remote country areas. They have a lot of crime amongst their own. That's due to the fact that there's very low unemployment. But as for Aboriginal crime in our big cities, it's next to nothing. There's you never hear. As a matter of fact, the biggest problem we've had is we had an influx of Somalian and Sudanese refugees a few years back, and now the grown-up teenagers are causing havoc, going on rampages, stealing cars, carjacking, going into people's homes, threatening them, taking their car keys. And the mainstream media wants to wash over it like, oh no, we don't have a problem with black gangs here in Australia. It's not existent. Well, you tell that to the people that have been robbed and beaten. You feel sorry for the kids a little bit because there's no opportunities for them to get work, but you don't go around bashing people and robbing stores and all that sort of stuff.
Right, of course.
But as far as I'm concerned, the racism problem is overhyped by the media to make a lot of people feel guilty, about stuff that went on 200 years ago. Same problem you had there with the early slavery in America. Same thing here. The Aboriginals been mistreated, that children been stolen from their families. All that sort of thing, and the Australian government's apologised officially quite a number of times over what happened to the Aboriginals back 200 years ago. So how much more do you have to apologise? Can't we just get on with it and love one another, respect one another, and build one another up?
You got a good point there. So I thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Well, ABL, you're a legend, mate. Thanks so much, and keep up the good work.
All right, now take care.
Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him, and thank you all for being here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. All righty, let's go to 780. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony.
Yes.
Liza Jean.
Liza Jean, what's going on? We got you on finally.
I know. You know what? I don't even try to call in anymore because I just love hearing everybody's point of view. But you just took a phone call from our Australian cousins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a very simple question for you.
All right.
Have you had to wear a mask?
No, I haven't. I've not had to wear a mask at all. I almost had to wear a mask one time because I was going to Guitar Center to get some new headphones. But then they said, okay, when I went there, I didn't know it. I just happened to go. They were open, but I did not know what the requirements were before I went there. So I get to the front, and then I see a sign on the door that says you got to wear a mask. I'm like, okay. I pretty much just asked the girl just to make sure that I had to wear a mask. Must I wear one? She said yes. I left. I went home. So I've not had to wear a mask at all.
Well, I went to visit my daughter in Toronto last week. I've not worn a mask. I really believe in, inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. And we went somewhere, and then she said, Mom, I'm calling an Uber to get us home. And she said to me, you need a mask for the Uber. So it's the first time I've worn one. And I've got one in my purse just in case I end up somewhere where I need one. And I put it on my face, and I almost died. The whole thing is just doused in what feels like, what people put in their fabric softener? I was just breathing in all these chemicals, and literally, within a minute, I felt like I was going to pass out. So I just slumped down. I had to pull that mask away from my face. And we know that it doesn't really make any difference. Anyway, I love what you're doing. I love hearing all the people calling in and you giving all of us a platform. You are amazing. And so that's what I have to say.
All right, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
Yeah, I feel the same way about masks, Because my thing is, I'm used to breathing, like having my nose be free. I got, I don't have a small nose. I like to be able to breathe. And if that's obstructed, then I'm not going to be able to breathe properly. Okay. Big nostrils, I got to be able to just breathe normally. Okay. I got a short tank with, I got to be able to breathe. And you see guys wearing the mask improperly, wearing it below their nose because they can't breathe with it over their nose. Okay. So I don't really see the purpose. And then you might take it off and have it dangling. And what's being collected while it's dangling away from your face? And if it's under your chin, what's under your chin? You might got all kind of dirt and schmutz right here and bringing it right back to your face. And you're not being able to exhale the carbon dioxide that much. Masks are not meant to be worn just all day long like that. Unless a doctor or something where that makes sense for you to wear. You're just a regular normal, just out there. I'm just not going to do it. Unless I have to. Like if I can't avoid it, then I'll do it. Like if I got to go on a plane for some reason. But what's the point of going on the plane where you can't even go anywhere? Like if you want to go to New York for some reason, and I don't know why you want to go to New York, but if you do want to go to New York, you got to quarantine for like 2 weeks. It's like, why would I do that? I'm not going to go to New York. My state is in the list of states you have to quarantine 2 weeks when you go to New York. I'm just not going to go. So what's the purpose of traveling and doing anything right now when you can't even really go to a place without quarantining? So nah, if I cannot avoid it, then I wear it. But I've been able to avoid it. Like I said, it was only one store that had a requirement of a mask, and it wasn't even really that deep. It's like I get my headphones on Amazon rather than going to a Guitar Center, or I'll get it from somewhere else, local spot. I'm not going to wear a mask if I don't have to. As simple as that. I don't care. 618, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Joey.
All right, Joey, what's going on?
Hey, so I'm a young conservative, and I love your stuff, man. My dad has always been conservative, but, lately I've really got more involved in the political world and learning stuff, and you're really one of those channels that got me into that. But just one point I want to make is that celebrities and these athletes, they need to be more responsible on Twitter and Instagram, encouraging their kids and the people that look up to them to have their own views instead of just pandering, forcing this, democratic fake news stuff down their throat. Like, for an example, Drew Brees, kids are taught, you live in the greatest country, America, respect your troops and everything. And then Drew Brees says something like that. His young fans see him getting attacked. So what are they supposed to think when they see that? Are they supposed to respect America? Drew Brees getting absolutely mobbed for saying that. Another example, I'm a little bit nervous, I apologize. But another example, Taylor Swift saying Trump is a white supremacist, something like that. It's just invoking millions of our young fans to not have their own views, not being open-minded, and just learning from Taylor Swift, learning from Drew Brees, learning from the mob. And it's just awful.
Yeah, I agree, because these people, they have platforms, people, they're watching them, they're kind of following what they say, and they're really big influencers. So they need to be more responsible, for sure, with what they say. That's just in general. Anybody with any kind of platform, be responsible. Now, if you want to put out, hateful rhetoric, anti-American stuff, then that's your business, but you shouldn't be doing that. Not at all, because, you can really damage people like that. And especially with the kids, they don't really have the ability to have discernment, to really understand all of what's going on in the full context of what's happening. Not everybody's going to go do their own independent research and see what's really going on. I'd take what's being said verbatim or just react off of that without even knowing what they're doing. So I think you're pretty much right on the head with that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you for the call.
No problem.
All right. Shout out to all the young conservatives out there calling in the show. I appreciate you guys. All right. And shout out to all you guys that are in the stream watching what's going on. Super chatters, PayPalers, Patreoners, everybody. Thank you all for being here. What else we got? Let's go to the next call. Let's go. All right, call you on the line. 27, who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Ivan, man. I guess the viewers are flowing, man. You moving up the rank to 500,000 subscribers, I think.
Yeah, man, it's going very well.
It's going very well. Congratulations. But again, so you probably in the next year, I mean, Trump wins. I mean, the team's going to keep flowing. You're going to be competing with CNN and MSNBC, and I think CNN and MSNBC, and then the others. By the flowing going, you got to keep selling your narrative, right?
And what's that?
Well, you got to keep. So do you? How come you haven't put a video of the Black Lives Matter movement meeting with the chief of police in Washington D.C. and New York and Philadelphia? Do you put out a video doing that? Do you know anything about that or?
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. You don't know?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So you pretty much put the videos that Fox News put out, right? Like the guy with the gun and then the lady with the gun. But they were protecting their home. They're right. They should protect their home. I'm not saying that if somebody started acting up, you come into my house, it's going to be bad news. You try. I mean, that's they're on their own right to protect their homes. But it seems to me like the quality of information that you put in is the one that fits your narrative. You don't put information that don't fit your narrative. And what is the reason?
Well, I've not seen what you're talking about, number one, so I don't even know anything about that.
But even like I told you, I think 2 weeks ago, why you didn't put out anything for the peaceful protester? Why you keep portraying Black Lives Matter as
well, I've already answered that question, sir. I've already answered that question. We had a long discussion about that. I said that wasn't the story. Sir, listen to me. I'm going to answer it again for the people that's out there. Now, if anybody didn't hear Ivan, he was like, well, why don't you put anything out there about the peaceful protesters and do stories about them? It's like, that ain't the story. If I just go to the grocery store and peacefully just, buy food and I'm just chilling, like, what's the story in that? Okay, man goes to the store like it's supposed to do. There's always some kind of protest all over the country that's peaceful. Okay, that's not an actual story. The story is when things go wrong or where there's like a really great achievement or accomplishment. It can be positive. It can be very positive and monumental and groundbreaking, or very negative to where it's like causing a lot of pandemonium and chaos where it's impacting people's lives. Like if I go out there and just cut my grass like a good neighbor, that's not going to be a story. But if I go out there and burn a bunch of houses down, that's going to impact people. Or if I build a bunch of houses for free, that's a big story. So it's got to be a story. But go ahead.
So you want to show the one that they're burning, destroying, but you don't want to show the ones that I think Pastor Jones in Minneapolis was praying with the police and the protesters. You don't want to show it. I think the one in New York, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I did. Wait. You're wrong.
No,
wrong. Wait. Wrong. I'm gonna talk. I actually did show that because they were out there praying at the spot where George Floyd got shot, right?
Man.
Look, see, you got to stop talking because you're not even hearing what I'm saying. You're just talking and just waiting for me to stop. So just stop talking. You can hear me. Now you're talking, sir, look, be quiet so I can ask you a question. Now, are you going to be quiet? Now, the question was, you're talking about at the site of George Floyd where he got shot, they were praying. The question is that what you're talking about? Yes or no?
Well, yeah.
I put it on my Instagram page, so you're a liar.
But you didn't put it in the video talking about it.
It's a video, and I talked about it.
The one that were protesting.
Sir, listen, how about this? Check it out. I only can have so many things that go on my particular channel at a time. I put out 2 videos a day. I get thousands. Thank you for the tea. I get thousands of emails, like on a weekly basis, with news clips, with news tips. I can't do every story. So I put some on my Instagram page, some on my Facebook page, my Twitter, on my website. I put it on my YouTube. I can't put everything up that happens in the world.
So you just like CNN. So CNN show how police commit crimes or all the racist issues up there, but they never show a police officer helping somebody. I guess somebody had a flat tire, and the police get out of his car, showing in changing the tire. They never show a police officer, a man that used to walk every day from to his house to his job 45 minutes, the police officer gave him a ride. They never show that. Why? They don't want to portray that the police officer do any good in the community. They want to portray like the police, the racist and the criminals, and sure, we have problems with.
All right, so look, check it out. We got small amount of time. So what is my narrative? So what is my narrative that I try to push? You can answer that, and then I get to my next call.
Can I make a closing statement?
No, just answer the question, then you can go.
My closing statement is the division is helping you guys.
All right. Have a nice day. Closing statement. No, just answer the question. It's like, what you think you're on Capitol Hill or something like that? This ain't Congress. I mean, come on, man, cut it out. Like, answer the question, okay, your hind parts. All right. Let's get to the next call. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 712, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL?
Yes.
Hey, this is Al from Iowa. I haven't talked to you for a while. Boy, just had Ivan on there. Let's start out with the 4th of July. I guess my thought is, it's a racist holiday now, right? We understand through the Democrat Party, is that right?
Apparently so.
Apparently so. So everybody that celebrates is going to be racist, is that right? Is that how they're kind of interpret? I'm kind of interpreting this, right?
Apparently so.
Apparently so. So here we go. I'm going to be celebrating. It'd be great, and I hope everybody else does too. So I guess if we say that we can't have the 4th of July, that means we'll take a holiday away from everybody too. Is that what they want too, I guess? That'd be part of it, right? So I'm going to be enjoying myself, and I hope everybody else enjoys themselves too. And be careful with fireworks, of course, because they are kind of dangerous. I just want to give my public service of the day announcement there. So anyhow, the biggest thing that I kind of want to talk about was everybody got to remember what the 4th of July really is. It's Independence Day. It was when we should read the Constitution on that day. And it was taught in my day in school that we had to kind of know it in our 8th grade, basically 8th and 9th grade. We had to know the Constitution before we could actually graduate. I wish that they would establish these type of our government, civil society in the schools a little bit to have people understand what that Constitution means. And they're all saying also about you were saying about the American flag being racist. Now, I know what you're saying there. I understand exactly what you're saying because you're compared to what the Confederate flag was, and I understand that. But I was thinking to myself is that, when Old Glory was first designed by Bessie Ross there, you had 13 stripes and 13 stars. Now, people don't realize that 13 stripes is for the 13 colonies, and 13 stars was, of course, for each state that's in the Union. So basically, when there was blacks that served, the way I understand it, that were kind of like slaves, they were served. If they served 1 year, they became free citizens. Is that right?
I don't know.
Well, that's the way I understand it. Is that if you're blacks, like some people weren't able to go to, for instance, serve that time, so they gave them their slaves, for instance, or if the slaves would actually join the Continental Army. That after a year's service, they would be freed. They'd be free. So, and there was some that probably just did the year and got out, and then there was some that probably unfortunately didn't make it. They were fighting for our country, and then there was some that made it through that whole year and kept on. So basically, I understand what you're saying about the flag. That well, maybe for all the way up to the Civil War, that was a racist flag, but it still meant
it ain't me saying that. It's not me saying that. I think the flags are fine, but I know how the people that are wanting to remove the flags think.
Right, exactly. I mean, I got an Old Glory flag here that I actually fly, and I have my little Army flag underneath it. that I fly. But this country, it's a work in progress. I mean, we've come a long ways, and I just hate to see this country go backwards, which the Black Lives Matter movement is not for the Black lives anymore. It's been hijacked by Marxists. So, and you know that just as much as I know, is that because if they really did care, then you're right. Then why didn't they care about the 5 people that was shot in CHAZ? And why don't they care about all these shootings in Chicago? How many children just shot last week? Wasn't there like a 3-year-old or a 1-year-old?
Yeah, a 1-year-old got shot. And
then, I mean, they're phonies. I'm going to just put straightforward. They're phonies. They just say nothing. This has nothing to do with Black lives. It has to do with their agenda. And I just want to thank you for your time. You caught me off guard a little bit. I wasn't quite in thought, but I just want to let you know I appreciate your show. And oh, by the way, Ivan, if they have protests come over to your house, I want you to open up your doors and invite them in and give them some cookies and cream. Okay?
No doubt.
Okay. So, all right, you take it easy. And I don't know if you're going to be on the 4th. I'm going to have my kids and stuff here. I don't know if I'll be able to watch you a little bit, but I do wish you and everybody out there a happy 4th of July. Okay?
Right. Thank you for the call.
This is our independence. Okay? It's for all Americans. Thank you, ABL.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
You bet.
All righty. Shout out to everybody calling. The number to call is 434-658-1220. The number is always in the ticker that comes across the screen, and it's also in the description box below. 423 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Am I actually speaking with ABL?
Yes, you are.
ABL, my name is Alden, and I'm calling you from the Smoky Mountains here in Tennessee.
All righty.
And I've been watching your show now for, I'd say 3 months, and I'm a single dad. I've got a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I make them watch your stuff.
Excellent.
So your message, your information, your thinking, your sense of humor is getting out there to at least my generation now. I had a couple questions that I wanted to ask you, and just to find out some more about you. I wanted to know, are you a veteran at all? Or did you ever serve in the military?
No, not at all. My dad was in the military. He was in the Marine Reserves, then Air Force Reserves, and he was a firefighter 22 years. And my uncle, not his brother, but my mother's brother, was in the Navy and retired from the Navy after 23 years.
Okay. And did you come from a household where your father was there? You had 2-parent household?
No. Well, my parents were married before I was born. They were married for like 4 years. They were like high school sweethearts and all of that. And they were married really for probably about 14 years, but they got divorced, and they were separated when I was about 4 or 5. So if that makes sense.
Okay.
They got divorced later,
yeah.
But like from about 5-ish on, it was a single parent household, but my dad was always around, like a constant force in my life.
Good. And you can tell, just from listening to you, the respect that you have for individuals and how you carry yourself, that there was a strong role model there. In my household, there was a strong role model there, cracking the wood if I needed it. But just listening to you is impressive. And my kids and I watched a video clip of you on YouTube with other African Americans, Black people. I don't even know what do you have a preference of what you want to be called? I mean, because when I was in the Army, it's just black folks, white folks. I mean,
yeah.
Do you have a preference of your nomenclature?
Yeah, that's fine. Black is fine, because African American, that was made up by Jesse Jackson in 1988. It was a term he just created. Like, it was a term that kind of already existed, but it was never really used to describe Black people. It was just a term that he said, okay, we're going to just stick with this. And then ever since then, they said African American, but really it's just Black. That just makes sense.
Right. Well, it's interesting. That's good for Morgan Freeman too. He's like, I don't want to go to Africa. I'm an American. But one of the things that I wanted to talk with you about is that video clip where you were with black liberals, black conservatives. Was the kid who was the black conservative that came from, I guess he was adopted? You know which individual I'm speaking of?
Kevin,
do you think
yeah.
he was an actor? Or do you know this? Did you know that individual? Have you kept contact with him?
No, I knew him before that.
Okay.
I've been knowing Kevin for a while. Kevin was at the White House with us in 2018 when I went the first time. So yeah, he's been around for a while.
Okay. It was interesting listening to that conversation. Now, one of the things that I make my kids do, and I'm sorry if I'm long-winded here, but the guy before me was just as long, but I make my kids do certain things. They're going to listen to Ben Shapiro. You're going to read some Rush Limbaugh books, Michael Savage. You're going to get, you're going to read a little bit of the New York Times, Washington Post. You're going to find out where the freaks are. You're going to be able to sift through all of this to come up with where you are. And what I mean by you are, where they are personally, where their own. I said, you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Just make sure you back it up with facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. And I've been getting into this writer lately, and you may be hip to him, but I'm very impressed by him. His name is Matt Taibbi, and he used to write for Rolling Stone. Are you familiar with him?
The name, I've heard the name before, but I don't know who that is.
Okay. Just a recommendation for you, ABL. Start reading his stuff. The reason being is because he is a liberal. He's a progressive. But, man, he's sick of the crap. He is sick of it. And he is a light in the wilderness on that. It used to be you could talk with a liberal and agree to disagree, and those were the good old days. Well, this guy is young like you and I, and he understands the historical narratives that have been put out by the Democrats ever since Trump got put in office. And he's kind of, if you were to read him, you would think, is this guy a conservative? But he's not. But he is a person who's at least honest and an honest dialogue. And see, those are the things that we're just lacking here so badly.
I'm with you.
And anyway, his name is Matt Taibbi. Just wanted to throw that out there to you, bud. To just read his stuff, make it through it. It's really informative. It's fun, but it's also, it cuts right to the bone. So, but I just wanted to say thank you. Me and my kids are watching you right now, and keep up the good work, man. You are really doing some things that are bringing joy, clarity, and you make us feel like we're not alone. So just thanks, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. And thank you all for being here. You guys are fantastic. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you're enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the content, give the video a thumbs up for me. Also, share the video. And if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe right now and click the bell as well while you're at it. If you click that bell, you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. The number to call again, 434-658-1220. If you didn't hear that, it's always in the ticker, and it's always also in the description box below the video. Let's get to the next call. All right, Jordan, what's happening?
Yo, ABL, what up?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
That's good. Hey, if you haven't known, yesterday was Thomas Sowell's 90th birthday.
Wow.
And he has a new book coming out, Charter Schools and Their Enemies. So I'm just chilling. Yep. So just for y'all out there.
Imagine that. You like 90 years old, still writing. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's still writing. It's awesome. Did you hear about the whole thing with Hong Kong? The Chinese government can't seem to stop screwing with Hong Kong.
You know what? Hong Kong, I like what they're doing, trying to fight back. But the reality is that's going to become a Chinese city. Because the only way for them to actually prevent that from happening would be to get some external help like the U.S. But we're not going to fight China over Hong Kong.
And we have sanctions going on. So, we have issues with dealing with China itself. So, yeah, it's rest in peace, Hong Kong. I'm sorry.
The best they can do is to try to fight to keep some of their sovereignty, but ultimately it'll just be part of China.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean, you can't help it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
China's just too much of a power to stop.
right.
Yeah, about Marc Lamont Hill. Yeah, it's not surprising that he would say that men can have babies because he says a lot of dumb stuff. We talked earlier about him talking about killing Israelites, the whole blood in the river quote that he did that got him kicked off CNN. And I told you this story, but for those newcomers of ABL, um, he went to a talk one time at one of my universities that I went to, and he told me that David Webb, the bald black guy who was claimed to have white privilege, was a jeweler. And then when I looked up the jeweler, that jeweler he's talking about died over 40 years ago. So he says a lot of dumb stuff. So it's not expected to say stuff like this.
Yeah, we know the crazy part is that he's a college professor. So it's like,
I know.
how do you even get into that kind of position with that kind of thought process, that kind of brain power?
I know. It just shows the dimming down of our educational system. It's just pitiful.
Yeah.
And a last note before I go, because I won't take too much of your time, about the voice acting stuff. This whole race-based methodology when it comes to voice acting is just completely stupid. Like, there are a lot of black voice actors that have voiced characters that are non-black. And I'm not talking about just aliens. I'm talking about non-black characters.
Oh, yeah.
What really matters is the voice. So, like, for example, like Phil Lamar, you know him for like Hermes Conrad and all these other shows, Samurai Jack. He voiced a white Romanian guy who was a vampire in one of the Metal Gear games, some of the Metal Gear games.
And the biggest one is Kratos.
Yeah, Kratos, T.C. Carson. And then you got like the anime.
You know what? First it was T.C. Carson, and then it became the other guy.
The dude, Christopher Judge, that's his name.
Yes. Yep.
But,
and they're both black.
Yeah, and then look at like the anime business. You got like the guy who voices Jet Black in Cowboy Bebop is black. And then you got a bunch of black actors in Naruto and all that stuff. The point is that what really matters is the voice. And the fact that we're doing this race-based methodology when it comes to voice acting is only gonna, in many ways, hinder black people's voicing options. Because then it's not a free-for-all. Like the fact that you have a bunch of black actors taking positions that would be suited for white or Asian roles is an accomplishment in itself. Because that could have easily been like a white guy filling that position, but they decided to get this guy instead.
I mean, in years past, you couldn't actually do that role if you were black. But now, since we have, freedom, you can do that. It doesn't really matter what race you are. But now we're trying to go backwards and say, you can only do this role if you are that race. What are we doing?
Exactly. It's regressive, and it hinders black people's business opportunities, or depending on what happens, stifles the creativity of the people making the animations. So I just don't want a future like that. Like, we've had a lot of good roles. Like the guy who, like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, a black guy does a Jamaican accent for the Grim Reaper. That stuff's amazing, and I just don't want that being stifled,
Exactly, 100%.
All right, well, I'm going to hang up ABL. It was nice talking to you. See you later, Chet, and happy belated birthday, Thomas Sowell.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Not a problem. Peace.
Peace. All right, great call from Jordan. Thank you for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. Let's get to the next call here. Let's do, let me see, 978, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, 978, who am I speaking to?
So this is Luke from New Hampshire.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Not much. So I'm just watching a stream. I stumbled upon your channel today, actually, tonight, watching a video about how math was racist. And I found that very entertaining. I'm a university student, and it really demonstrates well how the university system is just so far politicized, with the leftist ideology.
Yeah, it's out there.
It sure is. I've recently with this whole movement. There's been a big movement to sort of push the students and staff to read very opinionated works about race, such as like white fragility. Have you ever read that or heard anything about that book?
I've seen that book cover kind of get floated around social media, but I've never really read that. So you got kids that are being told to read this in school. Like, we're talking about college, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you know anything about it?
No, I haven't read it yet personally, but I have been asked by my by the professor who I work under to watch a seminar by that author, and pretty much she just she's a white woman, and she pretty much just explains how white people are evil, and the American white society is toxic and terrible, and that all these unconscious mechanisms happening that white people are unable to control, but somehow we're supposed to take control of that. I don't know. I find a lot of the things that they preach to be very generalized. And I just wanted to mention, by the way, that although I haven't watched a lot of your content, I can definitely tell you're a very smart man, and I definitely hope you keep making this great content, and I'll definitely become a subscriber.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Same to you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Let's get to the next call here. All right, caller, you on line 407. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, man. So I'm interested to hear if you have any actual substantive defense of the Confederate flag. I heard you kind of saying that it's all good, but I'm interested to hear what is your rationale? I can tell you for sure on my end, I consider it to be at least unpatriotic at the time and probably immoral, considering that it was a symbol of them fighting against fighting an immoral war to protect the rights of states to legally practice slavery. So do you have any what's your rationale for defending it? To me, I think it would be a point where, like you were saying earlier, about some things should be common sense about women only being the ones that are able to have children, right? Mm-hmm. And so the Confederate flag, I would have to say is in Nazi Germany, there's not honoring and statues showing respect to the Nazis. That's something that they put behind them and they are not proud of. But for some reason in America, it seems to be, this idea that, hey, obviously nowadays you hear people saying, well, it's my Southern heritage and this, that, and the other. So it's we can easily create, rationale in hindsight about what it means to me now. But the historical, the things behind it, I think are pretty obvious and straightforward. It surprised me to hear you to say that.
Okay. I hear your question because we got time constraints. So I'm gonna go ahead and just answer your question now. Sure, yeah. I'm not really understanding how the Confederate flag is the equivalent to the Nazi flag.
Okay. I think you're right. It's not exact. It's not an exact equivalent, but it's a simple and straightforward reference, right? The Confederate flag is the symbol of the rebellion in the United States, right, against the Union. And I would say typically if people were fighting right now against to take apart or secede from the United States, I think we would all recognize that as being
all right. Okay. So wait. So the rebellion itself is what you're against.
I'm saying that honoring of the Confederate flag. You know, the Confederate.
Well, we got. Caller. Listen now. We got time constraints, so when I ask you something, you got to answer it pretty quickly. So, is the rebellion what you're against?
I'm against honoring the Confederate flag.
Caller, listen to me. Listen, caller, listen. Caller, listen. Yeah. Yes or no, please, because of time. You can't talk a whole. You know what I'm saying? So, is the rebellion what you're against? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So, how about the American Revolution? What was that?
About it?
What was that? Was that a rebellion?
Yes, it was.
So that's fine, right? Because we won.
I'm saying that.
I mean, so how? Wait. So hold on. So, is it okay because we won? It's a yes or no question.
No, it's okay because there's a moral reasoning for it.
Well, what was the reasoning?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, Americans are going to say it's because of we did not want to be a part of the British colony, right? The whole Tea Party deal.
Okay, so same thing with the Confederacy. They wanted to have their own thing. Same thing as the United States wanted to be breaking apart from the Kingdom of Great Britain. The Confederacy wants to be breaking apart from the Union, have their own thing. It's the same thing.
But why? But we have to answer the question of why do they want to separate, right? I mean, in the Civil War, they're defending their right to continue to practice slavery, which is immoral, and that's my point. Why are we respecting that?
Oh, okay. So how long did the United States keep slaves after they seceded from the Kingdom of Great Britain? How long did they have slaves? Huh?
How long did America have slaves?
After the American Revolution.
I don't know. I don't know how long.
89 years. How long did the Confederacy have slaves?
They probably never had them. There was
4 years. 4 years. That's it.
Okay.
So if the rebellion was wrong, if owning slaves was wrong, then the United States rebelled against the Kingdom of Great Britain, and it had slaves for 89 years. So the same argument you're using against the Confederacy can be used against the United States in general. This is why you're seeing American flags being burned. This is why you're seeing George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln being taken down. This is why.
You make great. Listen, I agree with you on that. Those are great points. I've seen a few times where, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement was tearing down statues and monuments of people that were fighting for the Union and things like that. I assume it's just people are uninformed or not aware of the statue that they're tearing down, but. So
they're informed. They're informed. They're very informed because when they go out there, they got speakers that are talking about, well, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, but he didn't really want to. He didn't really care. He was a racist. All it was about. No, they're very informed. Don't get it twisted, because the argument that you're using, they're also using. Because you got to understand, I come from that kind of world. I know what they say. I could bring up clips right now from years ago with speakers like Farrakhan talking about, well, the Confederate flag. Don't worry about that. Worry about the American flag. And the same exact things you say about the Confederate flag, they say about the American flag. So my thing is I'm consistent. That's all. I'm not a hypocrite. So I can't say that I love the American flag and I fly it proudly at the same time saying I hate the Confederate flag and I want it to burn. Because the same argument will be used against the Confederate flag, you see?
It'd be used against the American flag.
I can say against the American flag, exactly, from the Confederate flag.
I just don't see the equivalence between the American flag and the Confederate flag, though. Like,
I gave it to you. I gave it to you. I gave you the point. So my point's right, or are they wrong?
It's like.
Is it right or wrong? That's it. It don't really matter. The nuance is irrelevant. Is it right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? It's either one. It's either one or the other. Right or wrong? Which one?
I can't agree with. No, man, I cannot agree with that, bro.
I mean, no. I'm not asking you. Wait a minute. I'm not asking you to agree. Wait, caller. Listen, caller. Wait, caller. Listen to me now. I'm not asking you to agree or disagree. It's not even about that. Yeah. Am I correct or incorrect? It's only one way you can go. Either I'm right in what I say or I'm wrong in what I say. It's not about whether you agree or not. Am I right or wrong?
Your logic is consistent.
Are my facts correct?
Your rationale is.
Sir, I didn't ask you about. Sir, I asked you a specific question. Are my facts correct?
Sure. Yes.
All right then. So that's case closed. That's case closed. So I've given you my rationale behind it. You said I'm right. You said my facts are correct. And these same things I'm saying are being used by the left against us. That's the whole thing that we sometimes seem to miss.
If I say to you that the Confederate flag is an immoral symbol, do you like? I can give you a whole bunch of facts and then say, am I right or wrong about that?
What facts? Like, what facts can you give me?
That the flag is representative of a war to protect the right to practice slavery.
Okay, now if you say that, then I say, what about the American flag? You can't leave that out, because if you're going to take that stance, you must also be consistent in your argument, because the American flag, they were built against the Kingdom of Great Britain, and they had slaves for 89 years. Versus the Confederate flag that had slaves for 4 years. And wait. And during the war, the Union had slaves. So it don't make no sense. Okay, one side is fighting the other to stop slavery, but one side had slaves. So how does it, they not only had slaves for 89 years, they also had it during the war to end slavery. So it wasn't even about slavery if both sides had slaves.
We know that the war was about slavery. That's not a realistic.
So were slaves on both sides of the war?
There probably were, yes.
It's yes or no question.
Yes.
All right. So if both sides have slaves and the war was to end slavery, how does it make sense? There was no rush to end slavery until the South seceded. That's a fact, because before the South seceded, it was just slavery happening in the Union. And it was all good. It had been going on since 1776. Without the South seceding, the slavery wouldn't have ended right then. It would have ended much later.
Right. So slavery ends, right, because there's a moral argument. Like you said, it ended in Great Britain. It ended in some of the British colonies. Eventually, that idea reaches America, and we come to our senses and decide we're also going to put it into it. Which, I mean, it's like, am my facts right or wrong, right? Like,
no, because that's an assumption of what could happen. You don't know when it was going to happen. If it was going, that's an assumption. I'm giving you straight hardcore facts that actually I can point to and prove.
That's historical record, right? We can go look up when slavery ended. We know that there was the abolitionist movement in America. Like, that stuff that's not me making it up. That's facts.
But what facts are you talking about? I mean, there was a movement, yes, but that doesn't mean it was going to end. There was a push to end it, but that doesn't mean it was going to end anytime soon. There was always movements to end slavery. That doesn't mean that it was going to end. But hey, this has been a great call. This has been a great call, but I got time constraints, so I'm sorry. Thank you for your call.
I appreciate you. Hey, I enjoy your show, so keep doing it. I just can't watch you say stuff that's crazy on TV.
All right, now take care, man.
Man.
All right, shout out to the caller. Did I have a good case, or was he like who was the person that had the most facts in the case? I want you guys to tell me, because maybe I am wrong about what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, if I say something, like, I got to be consistent. I can't say that I want the Confederate flag to go at the same time say that I want the American flag to stay, because the same argument against the Confederate flag can be just change out the Confederate flag for the American flag, and it could be used the same exact way. That's pretty much it. Okay, let's get to the next call. Magnificent, what's happening?
What's going on with you, man? I just heard that last call. That was kind of crazy. Man, these people they're so frustrating, man. Like, I can't believe we're even talking about slavery. First of all, if he cares about slavery, we need to talk about the slavery that's going on in Libya. See, they don't actually ever care about what they say that they care about, right? And I know you know that, right? Like, they don't care. They just want to be right. They just want to talk. They just want to be heard. They just want to be wrapped up in their feelings. And then when you present them with actual facts, then they just short circuit. And that's what that was. That dude he just fell apart, man.
It's all good, though. It was a good call. It was a fun call.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I was thinking, since it's July 1st, this is a brand new month, and I don't know what to expect. I don't know if you heard anything. I don't know what the next hoax is that they're going to try to pass on us, because every month has been something new, And I'm just thinking, man, maybe it's going to be like flying spiders that are racist and they carry the virus or something. I don't know what it's going to be, man.
It's always something crazy they try to put out there. You know, I remember the murder hornets, that lasted for like 5 minutes. I don't know what happened to them. Did they go back to Asia? I don't know what's going on. And then the thing is, they're not anything new. Like, it ain't like a new strain of hornet. It's been around for a very long time. They tried to scare us with that. That didn't really go anywhere. So I don't know what they're going to come up with next. There's always something.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I've been paying closer attention this year for whatever reason to just how they take what seems like a simple story. Like in Florida, they had this massive dust storm that just came over from Africa, and they called it a dragon storm. Like, this is a dragon storm. It's the largest storm in 50 years. It can be deadly, and it causes upper respiratory issues. And it's going to hit Texas, and then it's going to curve back around and hit Florida. I'm like, I see what they're doing here, because this is right around the same time that they're saying, oh, the virus is spiking again. So they're constantly using unnecessarily hyperbolic statements just because it like subconsciously puts that fear in people. Like, here's another thing that could kill me. They're always doing that. And I think that's how they've been able to maintain social control. And that's why they've just been using people, you know, because the fear, man, it's just fear is the real contagion, in my opinion.
That's right. The fear is really real, for sure, because you could control pretty much anybody. You could control anything. You could change the course of a country, the economy, everything but fear. Yeah.
And speaking of which, you know, we're talking about this virus. What are your thoughts on the beaches getting shut down for 4th of July? We got Independence Day coming up in 3 days where we're actually celebrating freedom and liberty. And you've got beaches shut down, and you've got counties and cities in Florida that are passing mandated mask orders. And I was over in Tampa Bay last weekend to go see some friends, and that was my first time in a city since this whole thing really got crazy. So I was taken aback by how people were driving their cars wearing masks, and you can't go in gas stations and grocery stores. You basically can't do anything in these cities without masks. And I asked my friends, like, what happens if I don't, because I didn't bring a mask or anything. They said, if you're seen in public without it, you can get a $500 fine.
Wow.
And you can get up to $1,000 fine. And some people, in some cases, will go to jail. And I'm like, so how is anybody going to be able to celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day? This is going to be the weirdest 4th of July in my life. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's just really strange. I mean, I don't really get it. I think they're just trying to keep the numbers down. I'm not really sure what the end goal is, because they're saying the cases numbers are going up, but the deaths aren't going up. You know, New York City is really where the virus hit hard. It didn't hit anywhere else really hard. They're talking about having mask ordinance places like Knox County, Tennessee. I think there might have been 10 total deaths, and there's not been any mask wearing yet up until right now. And they say that heat kills the virus, so I don't really understand this makes any sense. It's just kind of weird. And then the whole thing with the cities doing it, I think it's more just about the numbers and trying to keep those down. It could be a financial part of it. I don't really know what the purpose is, but it won't actually do anything. Fauci came out and said before all the mask things became very popular that the mask won't really help. It might block a droplet or two, but it's not really going to be a thing that you can rely on.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the mask will actually make things worse because you're not exposing yourself to the toxins that are in the air, so your immune system can respond to it. You're breathing in carbon dioxide, and like you said, it makes no sense. Wearing a mask in 95-degree heat and humidity and then slapping a fine on somebody if they try to breathe, this is the craziest thing. And then there's no scientific study. I posted it on Twitter. I said, can anybody show me one scientific study that justifies closing down a beach? It doesn't exist. They're just winging it. They're making it up as they go along. And these mandated mask orders are a slippery slope, because how long before that turns into mandated vaccines? It's just a matter of time. I mean, Bill Gates has literally told us what he wants to do, what the plan is. So it's crazy. And they shift the goalpost, so people aren't really catching it. They shift the goalposts. At first, they were worried about the deaths. This is how many deaths we have. They were literally tracking the death toll. Now they're tracking how many cases we got. They don't want to talk about it's 18 to 34. Most people are asymptomatic. People who have no symptoms at all are being encouraged to test, to get the test so that they can inflate the numbers. So they just moved the goalpost. That's really all it is.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing before I go, man, I don't know if you've seen the Black Lives Matter commercial yet, but I heard about it. I'm trying to find it on YouTube, but apparently it's on television now. As you know, they got their tentacles in every aspect of American life. And so the commercial is, I think it starts out with, you should be able to go jogging. You should be able to wear a hood. And then they basically go down the list of all the things, right, about Black lives and the people that have been killed. And then they say, not every American is free. Therefore, we should not celebrate Independence Day. So we got two prongs approaching this, trying to destroy Independence Day. I think that that's obviously their next thing. It's in the crosshairs. So what do you think about this Black Lives Matter continued onslaught of propaganda? You just can't escape it no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think at this point, we know what's going on. This is a political situation. It's not really about anybody that died or whatever. It's all about politics at this point. I mean, I kind of knew that it was going to happen. I figured this would be kind of a crazy year, 2020. You got, big election coming up. They're trying to put Joe Biden in there. He's pretty much a corpse. They want to shove him into the front door and let him stay in there for a while until he can get replaced to kick Donald Trump out. So they're going to take out all the stops. I wouldn't be surprised if we had any kind of false flags or whatnot to make things look worse than what they are. And of course, BLM getting plenty of money. I think Joe Biden outraised Trump last time. Where'd that money come from? Anyway, not surprising at all. It's all about politics at this point. It's not even about anybody that died. They don't care.
Right, and everybody's trying to cash in. Like McDonald's is like, oh, we stand with Black Lives Matter. I'm like, if McDonald's cares about black people, they need to close down and go out of business, because heart disease and diabetes is probably the number one killer of black folks. And they could take all their earnings and contribute it to the health conditions that black people have. So I just think that's them cashing in. But that's hilarious that McDonald's is trying to cash in on the BLM thing.
That is funny.
It's crazy, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Also, man, I sent you I inboxed you on Twitter. I don't know if you got it or not, but I am really trying to get on the panel with you and Tatum at some point. If I can, contribute. I want to invite myself on, but I would like to get in the mix and, collaborate with y'all.
I'll bring your name up. I'm not in charge of that. I'll bring your name up, see if you can get on, see if we can make something happen. I'll definitely, vouch for you for sure.
For sure, man. Appreciate you having me on. If you guys want to find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just type in Mike-nificent. Type in Mike-nificent 813 on all the other platforms, but on YouTube, just search Mike-nificent. I should pop right up.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Catch you later, man.
All righty. Great call from my man, Mike-nificent. Go ahead and follow him on the YouTubes. And thank you all for that. Thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you. If you guys have that BLM commercial, please send it to me. I want to see it. I may even do like a reaction to it or something like that. I've not seen it yet. Somebody asked me in the chat why we shouldn't join Parler. Parler, number one, if you don't know what Parler is like a so-called Twitter alternative. And a lot of conservatives are joining it. They're saying, join Parler. Parler's great. But Parler is, number one, blocked behind the login wall. So you can't, your tweets or whatever you have over there, your parles, whatever they want to call them, they're not indexed to a search engine. So you have to actually create an account and log in to see anything, which is crazy, because if I go to a website, I can see tweets embedded into an article without having to actually have a Twitter account or be signed into my particular Twitter account. But you can't do that with Parler, number one. So if you're going over there to not be censored, they censoring you kind of already by requiring everything be behind a login wall. Okay, Twitter would do that to you as well, and it wouldn't be no problem because couldn't nobody see it. You see what I'm saying? They kind of like put you in the shoebox, but then beyond that, they're kind of data mining. They want your ID, like your physical driver's license, front and back, your phone number, email, contact history, all that kind of stuff. They want too much info. And then they're more, they censor you more than Twitter does, be honest with you. It's a lot of things that they don't allow. I don't really want to say it here because it gets kind of weird, but they're censoring you more than Twitter. So you can't just go over there and do whatever you want to do. And then beyond that, ain't nobody over there. You just be put into a shoebox. Like, even if it was indexed and searchable on Google or Bing or whatever you use to search, even if it was that, you still wouldn't be seen by anybody because nobody's there. You got people that you already notice over there, but you can't grow like that. My thing is, I want to have a organic platform just come up and replace Twitter or whatever. Twitter is actually not that bad. Twitter does do some stuff, but they're not as bad as a Parler. Really, Parler's actually worse than Twitter people are saying that it's some kind of alternative. But what happened to Gab? Gab is still there. Why is Gab not the spot to go to and Parler is? Or any other social media platform? It ain't just Twitter that exists or Parler. You still got Gab and everything else. So why Parler? I feel like it's some kind of campaign to get everybody to go over there. But for what? So your tweets can be behind a login wall that nobody's really going to sign up to see if they're not already over there already. To just, like, it's like putting my website behind a login wall. It doesn't make any sense. I want you to be able to search and find my articles on my website. And my articles are conservative stuff. My website is a place I can just say what I want without having to be relying upon Twitter. I could post a link to whatever I want on my website, and it's not going to get taken down because it's a link. It's not hosted by Twitter. You see what I'm saying? So if you really want to empower yourself and not get censored, build your own website up. Now there is some things with people getting their domain names taken down. That's the FCC situation, in my humble opinion. Okay, that's a whole government thing right there. But you won't be censored by social media if you got your own website and do things there. The most they're going to do is try to take ads away from you, but that's kind of rare that happens. And there's other ad networks that exist. So I'm just saying, probably not the way to go. That's just my humble opinion. Let's get to the next call. 434-658-1220. 956 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hold on a moment.
All right, caller.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I was changing my background so that the scenery, goes with the flow of the.
Yeah, I can't see you.
Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
Awesome. So this is Luciano. I'm calling in from my mom's phone. My phone is kind of low on data, but man, this phone works brilliant. And also, when I call into my other phone, there's like a glitch, like a looping glitch. I don't know how to describe it, but this phone is more straightforward. Anyway, so I wanted to ask you a question. About a week ago, there was a supposed racist incident at a Macy's in Michigan. Do you hear about it?
You said what now?
About a week ago, in a Macy's in Michigan, there was a group of two black teenagers. Well, I don't think the other one was a teenager, but one was. And supposedly the white employee from Macy's was calling them the N-word repeatedly. Did you hear about that at all?
Now, I heard about, I saw the video where he was getting beat up. The white guy was getting beat up, but I didn't see any proof of the guy calling him the N-word. That was something that was said, but I've not seen any evidence of that. I'm not sure if that's true or false.
Oh, I think one of the videos refuted the claim that he was being called the N-word, I think. So, yeah, it was false. It was all fabricated.
Yeah, I figured that, it was just kind of, I don't know what was going on with that. It was just really weird. Just, random violence happens a lot, but it doesn't get covered too much because if you cover it, then you're racist.
Yeah, I mean, is that how desperate the left is for racism? Like, they got to now create it? Come on now.
We've seen it over and over again. You saw Bubba Wallace and his whole thing with the news. Then you saw Jussie Smollett and everybody else. There's always some kind of new fake hate crime attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also found it interesting that at the same time, there was also this hate crime against a transgender, but everyone decided to stay quiet on it because the guy who killed him or her, I don't even know what to say anymore, was a Hispanic, and everyone was pretty much quiet. I only saw conservatives spoke on the hate crime. It really goes to show how the left does not care about the people. It cares about, divide and conquer and stacking the odds against you.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we'll see more fake hate crimes rise up, and they're gonna change. They're gonna always try a new demographic. It's not gonna just be black people. They'll try disabled people, the elderly, or transgenders if they can next. You feel me?
Right.
So. And by the way, did you check your Gmail?
I got so many emails, I don't even know what's going on. You send me something?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if you could, you don't have to do it right now, but if you could react to it, it's just a picture. It's just a picture. It's a messageless, DM, from Gmail. Like, it's a wordless, I meant to say, not messageless. It's just a picture. It's a picture of Calvin Klein promoting, how do you say that word? Polyamory?
Yeah, polyamory. Yeah, okay.
Yes, it was an advertisement in a Calvin Klein store at an outlet mall near me, and I was like, "Wow, is this how desperate they are to advertise LGBTQ stuff now in stores. Like back then, it was more in the media. Now they're spreading out to real lives. I mean,
now I saw the billboard with the trans lesbians, whatever that person identifies as. I saw that billboard, and I talked about that on the show. I think it might have been last time, but I've not seen anything else from Calvin Klein. So I guess they're going full LGBTQ ABCDEFG, huh?
Yep.
Not surprising.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and one last question. I kind of was trying to talk about this with a couple of YouTubers. And I'll send you a rant if you want to read over it, but originally sent to someone else. I was just going to ask, though, real quick. Do you think the image of the family has been destroyed by social media? Why or why not?
The image of the family? Well, it's definitely, it's not helping on social media to destroy it. I think it's been destroyed long before social media existed, or the process started long before social media existed. You're talking about the welfare state. That's the main thing that has killed the family. And then you see a lot of things on social media that kind of affirm the destruction of the family structure. So, yeah, I think that not just social media, but also everything that came before it. Yeah, it all kind of works together. It doesn't help that we have a lot of negative imagery on social media.
It doesn't. I agree. And another thing with social media is that it doesn't provoke healthy discussions among families. It just encourages, I guess, a lot of just chit-chatting and useless information, but also a lot of, doxing.
Right.
So, yes, I do think if you're gonna start a family, if you're gonna have social media while starting a family, please keep it minimal as possible. That's all I can say, because then,
no doubt,
families get all worked up over stuff that isn't even real.
Right. I'm with you. Well, hey, man, I got a lot of calls online. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Before I call, can I say some shout outs real quick?
I have no time. I'm sorry. So thank you for your call.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Shout out to the caller. All right. Let's get to the next call here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 931, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, this is Susan. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I didn't know if you'd had a chance, if you've ever seen the interview from a former KGB agent. His name's Yuri Bezmenov. I think I butchered that, but it's Bezmenov. And he was recorded in 1984 about how America can be dismantled and all the steps that it's going to take to actually eradicate the whole system. Have you seen that? Have you checked that out?
I have seen it many times. It's an excellent talk. He said everything that's happening now, and he said the process it would take to make it happen, talking about demoralization and the useful idiots, how when they're done, they'll get lined up and shot because they think they're important right now. I think everything is about them right now. But once the goal is accomplished, they're not needed anymore. They get discarded of. So, yeah, that was a very, very good talk.
What I found interesting that kept sticking in my mind is he said, you can show these people the proof that it's not right. You can show them documentation and they're not going to change their mind unless the boot of communism is kicking them in the head. And I think that's what a lot of people have been seeing, especially the mayor of Seattle. Once they came to her house, she wasn't playing anymore, right?
Exactly. Because when it came to her door and then it became dangerous, it's like, now they're kicking my head in. So now I got to do something. Exactly right.
Exactly right. Okay, good. Just wanted to just throw that out there.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate it. Yeah, Yuri Bezmenov, that's an excellent. I may do a video about that. I've watched that a lot. I was watching that years ago. I was watching that way back in the day, even when I was still kind of like, in the red pill moment phase. And when I was like transitioning away from the left to the right, I was watching that back then. And I watch it every now and again. I watch that every now and again. And also this documentary on ESPN called 30 for 30 Broke. It talks about money and how athletes get a lot of money and then they waste it. Like that's a good documentary to watch to understand how to deal with money and understand the social issues you're going to have with dealing with money and coming from certain kind of environments is really good. So if you are coming from a certain kind of, like, you know, dealing with family members and stuff like that, it's really good to watch to understand the social things you got to go through. But Yuri Bezmenov, his talk, you got to watch it. YURIBEZMENOV, former KGB agent. All right, let's get to the next call. 281, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, what's up, brother? It's Mike.
All right, man. What's going on?
Oh, man. Just blessed, man. Had to call in. I want to first start off by saying, Ivan, you need to get your own show. You got to get your own show.
That's right.
Work on yourself. Get your own get your own show. We spoke a couple weeks ago, ABL, and this has to be said. Black people, Black America, and I know a lot of y'all aren't black, but we got to stop romanticizing and fantasizing over slavery.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, we got to keep hearing about it, but you won't tell the full story of what slavery was. Once you guys get away from this idea of this big bad white boogeyman sneaking in, and we was in Africa and we was kings and queens and wearing diamonds and jewelry, when y'all get away from that crap until it really happened, maybe we can move forward with stuff.
That's right.
Keep on yelling. We keep hearing people yell about reparations, but then, so when does Africa pay their debt?
Exactly, because it was a two-way street. I mean, you know, you see Roots and you see the white man coming on shore with a net, catching random black people. That's not how it happened. Not at all. You had a slave trade. That's what they call it, a slave trade. It wasn't a slave kidnap. They came, the white traders would come to the shore in a boat and load up slaves that were already there in exchange for goods, for mirrors and spices and stuff like that. That was the reality of the situation. You had black slave traders that would go to the inland and capture black slaves, keep them captive to trade, not only to the white man, but to other African tribes and also to Arabs over in the Ottoman Empire, over in that direction. People don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about just, you know, the white man only, not the whole scope.
And you know, ABL, and these are all facts. And you know, the crazy part is that this is the end result of when we allow white guilt to overrun logic and facts. We know what really happened in Pan-African slave trade, but instead of saying what it is, we rather sit back and paint this silly facade of how America, we created slavery, we came and kidnapped all these people, and it wasn't a slave trade. But that doesn't make any sense. And even when we get the facts, we still won't accept it. Like the guy who called in who was mad about the Confederate flag. Listen, dude, we don't care about you being triggered about a Confederate flag. We really don't. It's a part of history. We don't have to okay it or justify it. It's a part of history. Now, ABL's not riding around with a Confederate flag hanging off his vehicle, but dude, we're not tearing them down either for a reason. It's a part of history. Now, did the Confederates lose? Well, yeah. So if people want to continue to carry the flag, that's on them. Hell, my football team keeps losing. I didn't turn my back on them yet. So it is what it is.
Right.
But you know, it's ridiculous. Listen, man, people who have a problem with history, the problem isn't ABL. The problem isn't me. The problem isn't black conservatives. The problem is yourself. You have a problem because your feelings get in the way. Dude, you getting triggered ain't gonna change anything with history. Accept it as such and move forward. Now, not I'm off of that. we gotta touch on the CHOP, the CHAZ, whatever that crap is. ABL, when we spoke about 3 weeks ago, man, I said it. As long as they're not going to her house and her neighborhood,
yep,
they can shoot up and tear up the city as much as they want to. But the day when they show up on that doorstep, boy, oh boy, everything changes. It's so funny how everybody become terrorists out of nowhere, huh? It become the radicals. They become radicals and extremists when they show up at your house. As long as you're here tearing up public property and snatching down statues and shooting each other and shooting drugs, it's all good. But man, oh man, when they show up at your house, oh my God, you can't do this anymore. I can't take it. Send in the bulldozers. Get the bulldozers in there. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And it's so funny because in one token, they'll defend. In one token, they'll say, okay, well, you know what? She has a point. She has a right to, to not be bothered at her home. But then y'all sit back and y'all mad at the couple in St. Louis for defending private property. Like, what's the difference?
Exactly. And all they did was just come out there with a couple little guns that they barely could use. But she brought the whole police force out there and swept the whole 6 blocks in a half hour.
Exactly. Which she could have did. Which she did it 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was that simple. You could have made the phone call 3 or 4 weeks ago. But the fact of the matter was, her whole game plan was to make Trump look bad, make it seem like, oh, it was Trump's fault. It was Trump's fault. Or the problem was if Trump said it, then we got to do the complete opposite. And that's going to be the same rabbit hole they're going to lead themselves into. And we're going to be right back to 2020. We're going to win again because this is what they do. If Trump says it's cold outside, everybody's outside in tank tops.
Exactly.
But that's it for me, ABL, man. I appreciate the show, man. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
Great call. Excellent call. He hit it never on the head. Exactly. Everything is all good until they come to your crib. And then all of a sudden there's a problem. Then all of a sudden you want to get the big boys out and squash the whole situation. And we see that it could have been done from the beginning. There was no point in calling it the summer of love and all this and that. There was no point in doing that. Send them out there immediately. We've seen it happen in other cities. They did it in Portland, Oregon. It has some kind of autonomous zone. Get ready to set up. They squashed it ASAP. Same thing in Asheville, North Carolina. They've squashed a little autonomous zone. You can do that if you want to. If the autonomous zone is set up and you don't do anything about it, you choosing to do that. That is your choice. You don't have to let it persist. That's the reality. And we've seen that be played out over and over again. All right, calling online. 757, who am I speaking to? 757. You're on the line. Cannot hear you if you're talking. All right, I don't know what happened. That could have been my Skype messing up, actually. So let's get to the next call. 972, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 972. Okay, it's my Skype messing up. Maybe just restart my Skype. Okay, let's go ahead and restart that. Get everything together. Thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video. Also, share the video, like the video. If you're listening on an audio streaming platform like Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, give me whatever you can over there. 5-star rating, a review, a share, whatever it is. And I'd appreciate you if you did that. Let's get back to the calls in just a moment. All right, caller on the line. Who am I speaking to? Everything's great, man. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Everything's brilliant. Everything is absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to spend this time real quick. How's the chat doing? I want to spend this time real quick to give a beautiful reading of some, if there are some undecided voters that have decided to join your chat real quick, I want to read some Joe Biden quotes to help sway their mind. Would that be okay?
Go for it.
I've got a sister who's the love of my life. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. It's a Joe Biden quote. I've got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. The kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and watch the hair come back up again. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. It's from Joe Biden there. And obviously the classic. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Those are the wonderful words of Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent.
Have yourself a wonderful night, Mr. Logan.
Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Hey, excellent quotes from Joe Biden. If you were not convinced to vote for Joe Biden before those quotes, that should still do it right there. That should just convince you that this guy, Joe Biden, is the correct guy to vote for. And come November, you got to make the right decision. You know, hey, I don't know what more could be actually said. Let's get to the next call. All right, caller on the line. Can you hear me? 757? 757.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Appreciate that retweet the other day. My question was, now that I'm gonna have to turn my. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but don't talk to the stream. Talk to the phone.
All right. So my question was, now that Jenny Durkan finally did her job, it took her almost 4 weeks to do her job, and now that CHAZ is no more, do you think it's going to motivate more cities to not let that happen to them? or do you think the BLM movement is going to try and take over more cities just to see what will happen, or just to incite riots? I'm all for protest as long as they're peaceful. But if it takes them that long to do something, do you think they're going to want to go to another city and do that again? Or do you think that now that somebody stepped in, it's going to motivate other, even Democrats, whether they're Democrat or Republican, to not let that happen, or to end it sooner?
Well, I think that there's already some of these little things going on in certain places, and wherever it's going on, the city wants it to be there. And I'm not really sure what the motivation is. Like you said, it could be to make Trump look bad. I don't really know. Like you have one right now going on in New York. I think it just kind of started up and it's not been shut down yet, as far as I know. I could be wrong. You guys in the chat know better than me. And I think there still might be one in DC. I'm not really sure. So there's going to be little zones set up here and there, and they can get squashed down if the city wants it to. It wouldn't take long. It'd take 30 to 45 minutes or shorter than that, 20 minutes really, if it's just starting to get set up. And all you got to do is have good security. If anything like this happens, it's because the city wants it to happen. It's because it's a political reason. But I don't know if they're going to try to do it in any other place that it's not already, happening or being set up.
All right, I get what you're saying. All right, that's my only question I had. I appreciate it, and keep up the good work, man.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye.
All right, shout out to the callers. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. You guys on the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 707, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
What was that? Oh, this is Kurt. Yeah, how you doing?
Everything's good, man. How about yourself?
Hey, this is Anthony. Good to see you. Hey, I'm calling from Australia. And I love you. Just want to let you know.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Dude, I've been listening to you for ages. And you've been making so much sense. You're like making sense out of nonsense. And just keep up the good work. I'm giving you the thumbs up. Kudos. I take a lot of your little podcasts and I repost it on my different feeds to different things like Twitter. You're a fantastic guy, and all you guys are.
Well, thank you, man. It means a lot to me. I definitely appreciate you for that.
Keep up the good work. Love you. Lord bless you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the
Take care.
call.
Have a nice day.
Same to you.
You bet. Bye now.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. I was a little bit too slow to the trigger on that one. Let's go. All right. 720, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, my name's Daniel. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Hey, thank you, man, for taking my call. Tried a couple calls a couple times. Didn't work out. Didn't expect you to answer. Let me find my paper here. I had a couple questions. My first one being how it concerns me that I find that there's a certain thought process that black voters must follow, or else they get called the racist names. I won't even say them, but it just doesn't make sense to me that you get called racist names, and then as soon as you believe something outside of that, then you are now racist.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of like a hive mind, a group think. And, I really don't understand what the purpose of it is, because if you go across the country, there's differences in between people from place to place. We're not all the same. Like New York and Florida are way different. California is just, people aren't the same. So I don't understand why we have to have the same kind of mind state to just go with certain things. It's just kind of like I said, a group think, hive mind. And if you don't want to be part of the hive mind, it's like you get bullied. It's like Borg. You got to be part. If you're not part of Borg, then they want to attack you. It's just really weird. And I feel like more and more, day by day, people are starting to break away from the Borg and becoming their own individual people.
Yeah, I absolutely hope so. I find that the central part of how a lot of their thought process works. But I had a couple different things here. I had them written down. It's kind of funny. I noticed today the defund protesters asked cops to protect them, and that's just so hypocritical. I can't even find words to say it.
Yeah, that's really weird, but it's not surprising because it's the same thing going on with the CHAZ chop. You know, a guy got shot talking about, or the police didn't come get me. It's like, well, sir, you're in an autonomous zone. You need to have your own police force, your own security, your own hospital. Don't say, well, I'm in a zone where the police aren't allowed, where the EMT's not allowed, and they didn't come get me. That's the whole point. So people just don't even understand what they're doing. A lot of the times, they're just kind of out there wanting to be part of something, but not even really understanding what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we might be talking about the same exact story, but it was something about actually the protesters themselves asking a police department, and I don't know which one, it was just a short video I had been shared with, but to actually protect their protest, not even inside of CHAZ Chop. But that was just funny to me. My other comment that I had was I saw a video of Russell Brand. People know a lot about him around the world. His words were that we have Donald Trump now because of the Democratic left's abandonment of underprivileged groups across the board. And he did cite that he says a couple things he doesn't agree with, but it's just interesting to me that someone across the pond, so to speak, can see that.
Yeah, it's pretty clear what's going on. I mean, you could be pretty much anywhere. As long as you're able to keep your eyes on it, you can see what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even just in China, something I just recently saw as well, how they're even their racism seems more systemic in China due to just what I've seen. The commercial, they air quotes, they put a dirty person in the washer, a black person, and then lady sits on it, and a couple minutes later, a clean, quote unquote, Chinese man pops out. And that's the most systemic racism that I've ever seen. And at least it's nice to know that Russell Brand can see that there's a sort of usage. They're kind of using racism to beat over black voters on the head.
Yeah, you know, people don't understand what they have here in America, how good it is, how not racist it is. I know a guy in China, black guy, married to a Chinese woman. Their child cannot go to the school in China because the child is not Chinese ethnically. But they live there, and he's married to a Chinese woman. You see, like, the racism over there is actually real. Here, it doesn't exist. If there's racism, it goes the other direction, trying to so-called overcorrect, like affirmative action and stuff like that, quotas or, you know, unofficial quotas. That's the racism, trying to not be racist. Not as far as you can't be here if you're black. That's not happening in America.
Exactly. It's so overtly crazy. And just like as one of the callers earlier was talking about slavery while also not noting that it continues around the world. And it's kind of the same thing, talking about the racism. And I understand that as I know Dinesh D'Souza would say, is episodic in America. It seems very systemic from just that one commercial and the one short story that I had seen about that in China. And it's just amazing to me. My other short comment was about, you may be familiar, Jordan Klepper. I believe he does short films for The Daily Show or one of the left sites on TV. Just them putting some of the most ridiculous supporters of Trump they could find on TV, and that just infuriates me so much. There was a gentleman who was trying to find out why Obama wasn't in the office when 9/11 happened, and he'd like to get to the bottom of it. And it just seems like they've just put out the worst people that they can find to make their own narrative.
Yeah, it's really crazy, but I think we all pretty much expect that from them because, you know, the left, they're going to do that, making us look bad. That's just part of their narrative. But hey, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you very much for your time, ABL.
All right, now take care. All right, shout out to the caller. Let's get to the next call. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. All right, let's go. 814, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Luke.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, I want to say thank you for your show and everything that you're doing. And I really like the way that you argue your points and you try to stick to a logical consistency. And I think that's something that's a major flaw when I see people talking about politics and arguing back and forth.
Well, thank you for that. I just try to stick to the facts because, the facts, they prove themselves. I don't have to really, try to convince anyone of what the facts are. And if we could just stay right there, then I think it just makes sense for everybody involved. It's not a biased way to do anything. I'm not trying to trick anyone. I'm just giving you the information as it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I've caught myself arguing with people online, and I try not to get too tied up in that kind of stuff, but I find a lot of these arguments are just people are making from the left are just pulled from logical fallacies, things like red herrings and all of the types of logical fallacies. It's just they can't make a good argument based with fact. So
right, exactly.
But yeah, that's really all I had to say, and really for all the other followers listening, just watch out for that. If you can stick to the facts, if you can stick to the truth, then that'll keep you going.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thanks, brother. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. Hey, you guys are going to see something pretty soon here. You guys may see a clip. They're talking about this guy. His son was killed in CHOP. This guy right here. Now, the person that's right next to him might go viral. That's what they're saying. He might go viral because he can speak very well. That guy, his name is Gorgeous Dre. Or his name is Andre Taylor, but his name is Gorgeous Dre. Look him up. That's all I'm going to say. Let's get to the next call. Like I said, number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 870, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony. It's Stephanie.
All right.
From Arkansas.
What's going on?
Hey, I've been listening to you since the first day you've been on YouTube for years. Props to you, man. I love all the support you've gotten. Everybody that is supporting you, I just want to give a big hug to. Right now, all I want to say is when you are talking with normal people in your workplace, your family members, everybody is kind of on the fence right now, don't you think? They're all kind of having a question in their mind. What's going on? You understand?
Well, I'm seeing some of that, yes.
And I've been having a conversation over the last about 8 months with my coworkers, and I've been feeling them out. And for the most part, they're on my side. They're on your side. And everybody is a patriot for the most part. If you are talking to them, they're normal people. You just got to try to convince them, and you don't have to be crazy or anything. You just got to try to talk to them. Talk to them about the lady from the BLM saying, I'm an overt Marxist. I've turned so many people over to my side by playing that clip to them. You know what I mean? She says right out in your face, I am a trained Marxist. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No hiding or nothing. Just saying, hey, this is what I am. I'm 100% transparent, and people can't really fight against that. They can't really spin it away and make it be something else. They're telling you exactly what's going on.
Yes, and I have turned so many Democrats, people, independents on the fence. In the last week, I'm telling you, I've played them that clip, and they're like, oh, my God. I said, do you know what Marxism is? And they're like, no. Well, let me tell you what Marxism is. If you know what it is, man, just tell them. People are out there. They want the knowledge. They want to know. And I swear to God, people want the knowledge. Just give them the knowledge. They don't know what the BLM is. And I asked my friend the other day, do you support Black Lives Matter? Yes, we all support Black Lives Matter. Well, do you support the BLM? Do you know what that means? The corporation where they're funneling all the money? They don't know anything about that. You gotta educate them about that.
Right. Yeah. You're right about that.
Anyway,
people just don't know what's going on. But go ahead. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's all I want to say, man. I don't want to take up any more of your time. God bless you. I've been listening to you since you first got on YouTube. You're awesome. I saw you all over the place. Anyway, I just love you. And God bless you, and have a great night. And everybody, just tell everybody you know, and just educate them. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And thank you all for being here. You guys are fantastic. The best show on the entire internet. 205, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Landon.
All right, man. What's going on?
Nothing. I actually thought I would never get through. I've actually tried to call you a couple times. I'm glad you got my call. You know, I watched a little bit, you know, of your lady. A buddy of mine had turned you on to your show, but anyway, I think a lot of things these days is not really racism. It's people just trying to pull one over on the system. Today's society is just holding on to anything they can to try to get something for free when it really boils down to it. I see a lot of people try to use, you know, color and sex and you know, sexual preference as a crutch more than anything. And now I'm not saying that racism don't exist, you know what I'm saying? But the other thing I don't think is completely correct is people think in today's society they're trying to step on each other's toes, which more or less just makes each other not like each other even more. And, you know, trying to get the government involved and holding each other's rights, you know, freedom of speech, religion, whatever it may be. They come out and say, oh, well, that's racist. You got to make these people do this, and you got to make these people do that. It's kind of messed up when it really comes down to it.
Right? Yeah, it is.
But you know, and everything is backwards. It's kind of like you said earlier. You know, about the CHAZ or whatever. You know, where they took over the blocks. Everything's fine and dandy when it's going their way, but when it shows up at your doorstep, you know, now it's a threat, but it wasn't a threat for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think, like I said, I really don't think things are the way that people try to come off, and some of the funny things is too from those demands, and I don't know how true these may be, but I've seen some of the demands from what they said that the Black Lives Matters was, and I really hope that none of this is true, but you hear people about free education, that there's no education. Well, all city and county schools is free education. I mean, and the government already has programs out for families that can't afford to buy their supplies, for people that can't afford to do tutors. They have all that. And, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't grow up rich, and I got the same options of those programs. And, you know, then you hear, well, people can't go, you know, certain nationalities just can't go to college. Well, last I checked, there was a minority scholarship for, you know, different origins of the U.S., anybody, you know, but white people is what it really comes down to. And I really don't like throwing color out, because a man should just be judged by his character, which I'm not sure why we even have African American. Who's from Africa these days? Everybody was born in America.
Right.
I never could understand that. And, you know, we talk about division, but yet we still divide ourselves. I want to be called, you know, Krispy Kreme white, or I want to be called, you know, lesbian, and then another thing is, too, on these polls, what is other?
I have no idea. No clue.
Have you seen that on these polls?
No, I've not seen that. Other, it's like, what does it even mean, other?
that's what I don't understand. All right, when they come out with these polls, it says it'll say like so many white people were shot by cops, so many black people were shot by cops, and then it says like Hispanics, and then it goes into other. What is the other?
Yeah, that's kind of confusing to me. I mean, I think we need to kind of go back, roll some of this stuff back. I think media and events a little bit too much. Go back to just regular things that everybody can understand, but back before things were so confusing.
But as a taxpayer, I don't owe anybody anything. I mean, I don't really care what origin, what happened in history, or anything else. And the sad part is there's a lot of people in the world, like I said, trying to use things as crutches. And the people that pay for that is people like me and you and that comes on your show. And it's not the government. People keep reaching out towards the government, and they act like the government has the money. The government doesn't have money, and I mean that's where a lot of people have it messed up. They think that, I can just reach out, jump up, down, and the government will give me a check. Well, the government's not giving you a check. Your neighbor is supporting you.
Exactly. That's taxpayer money. Exactly. 100%. I'm gonna cut you off right here, but I got a lot of calls on the line. I got to get to a few more. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
All right, shout out to the caller. Let me get to the next call here. Okay. 386 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
How you doing, ABL? Big J here.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. Watching you live, man. Enjoy everything you put out.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right. I'm not too big on conspiracy theories and all that, whatnot, but I think that everybody's being played about all this racism stuff. Because when I go out, I see black people being nice to white people. I see white people being nice to black people. I don't see nothing that the media is showing.
Yeah, the media, they have a whole different world. The media, social media, it's a whole different world they're trying to paint just to make things look a certain way to fulfill whatever narrative they're trying to fill.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. And it gets to the point, I got to stop watching at some point because, it works what they're doing. It works 100%. And it will turn you, if you let it, into something you're not. And just want to let people be aware, man, that we are all getting played. Every time election time comes around, all this stuff comes up. Look back at the prior elections and you'll see a pattern. 1 + 1 is 2.
That's right.
That's pretty much it, man. Don't be played. Don't be played.
100% correct, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. Let's get to the next one. All right, caller on the line. Who am I speaking to? Caller, can you hear me?
What's up, buddy?
All right. What's happening?
Yeah, this is Todd.
You kind of breaking up a little bit there, boss. All right. Yeah, you got a bad connection. I got to hang up on you. Sorry about that, man. All right. Let's get to the next call here. Let's go 520. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey.
Hello. Who am I speaking to? What's going on?
Yeah, this is Lance.
All right, man. What's happening?
Okay. Well, I just would like to share a little bit about my childhood. And I grew up in Montana. And I had a real good neighbor friend. He was black. I didn't even think he was black. He was just a friend. And we got along great. Everyone got along with everybody. Nobody had anything about racism. And then when I was 14, I took a trip with an uncle to Wagner, South Carolina. And it was towards evening, and I'm walking down the sidewalk. And I tell you, it still brings tears to my eyes now because there were some black people standing on the corner, and I just wanted to talk to them. And when they see me coming, they got off the sidewalk and went up towards their house. And I'm thinking, did I do something wrong? So I turned around years later, end up coming to Mexico, been a missionary down here for almost 40 years now. So, and I watched from a distance what happened in the United States, the changes. And it was a subtle change over the years. Every time I come up, it was a little different, a little different. Sometimes I wouldn't come up to the States for 2 or 3 years. Of course, now with the coronavirus, I haven't gone up for at least a year now, because usually I went up lately every 6 months. Anyway, the thing was that I just wanted to say is there's so many people got to be like me out there that just don't see it's not Black Lives Matters or White Lives Matters. It's all lives matter, because Jesus died for all of us. That's just what I wanted to share with you. Is that all right?
Oh, it's all right. I thank you for that. Really do appreciate it.
Is this Anthony?
This is me.
Okay, well, God bless you. I had the TV shut off because I didn't know, and I guess you're doing a good job. I'm a first-time listener, and I just signed up earlier today. I did find another channel that was real good, Black Patriots. A real good guy I've been listening to for about a year, but you guys are so much more into depth. You reach out to a lot of people, and I think what you're doing is very commendable, and I just pray that God blesses you and your family.
Well, thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you for your call.
All right, bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. And thank you all for being here. You guys know the drill. The number to call, 434-658. There it is, 434-658-1220. It's always right there in the ticker at a certain point, and it's also always in the description box below. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you enjoyed the content, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell as well. When you click that bell, you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. Let me get to the next call. I'm running out of time here, so I got to probably get one more call in, and then I wrap it on up, the super chats, and close out the show. So let's get to the next call. 570, you're the line I'm speaking to.
Hi, Anthony. This is Gregory Tucker. I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. I just want to talk about I want to articulate my points very clearly. I want to talk about the way Black Lives Matter and just the liberal at large try to divide us into tribalism and groupthink. One of the points I want to make, right, is, and it could be on any side, however you want to. I hate when people try to label things, right, because I feel like that's what is dividing us into groupthink and tribalism. But specifically when these groups like BLM and I guess I want to say the liberals at large, like I said, I hate to term things. But what they're trying to do essentially, I feel like, is to put us into boxes, you know? And it's like, hey, you know, Black Lives Matter, right? On the surface, like, anyone can get behind that. Like, I don't care who you are. If you're a human being, you hear that on the surface, you're like, of course I can get behind that. But then when you delve deeper into the nuance behind that, you're like, you know, they only come out when it's a white police officer that is, you know, killing a black man or whatever, what have you. And it's like, you know, look at all the kids that die every day in Chicago, or, you know, I know it's a tired story, but in, you know, Chicago or any other inner city in this country, and it's like, do you really care? Like, listen, like, I'm supposedly Irish and German, like, my father's second generation Irish. My mother, you know, I'm not sure, but I know she's German. But it's like, I care, you know, I do. I care. Like, if kids are dying, regardless of whatever the skin color is or whatever, I care. Of course, I give a fuck, you know.
Hold on. Yeah, no cussing. Yeah.
I apologize, but it's like, you know, of course I care, and for these people to be like, you know, to make it about this or that is it's disheartening, man, because you see that these people have an agenda and a prerogative, you know what I mean? And for me to sit here, you know, I've been through drug addiction in my past. You know, I'm 30 years old now. Years ago, listen, man, I've been in these inner cities, man. I'm like I said, I live in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, now northeastern Pennsylvania, but I grew up in New Jersey. I've been in Patterson. I've been in the inner city using drugs, and I live with all walks of life. And I know, man, I know at the end of the day, people are people. And, you know, for me to see people, ideologues, using this to pit, you know, one against another is disheartening, man. And it makes you, when you see the greater populace taking on this kind of thinking, it gets disheartening after a while, and it makes you question, you know, is it worth it? Am I fighting a losing fight? But I think that if we spread the message enough to enough of us, you know, enough people that we get people to think and use their brain, you know, people, I hope they're going to come around, man, because, you know, it's the only shot we got, you know. We got to make people realize what's going on, and that's all I got, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
God bless, man.
All right. Shout out to the caller. All right. No more calls from me tonight. Thank y'all for joining the calls. Definitely appreciate you. Super chat still on deck. I'm going to read those right quick. Then I wrap it on up, put a bow on the top. You guys have been the best audience on the internets, on the planet, but don't go nowhere. Super chats. I'm going to read those right quick. Let's go back to about, 9 o'clock? All right. Let me go back and let's see. Take these headphones off because it's like taking the helmet off playing football. But anyway, thank you to Anubis Reloaded for your donation. Thank you to John Gonzalez, who says, I love your videos, but I don't understand why people support defacing and vandalism of statues, monuments. It's our history, Trump 2020. And thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. You know, people that want to deface monuments, tear down stuff, they just don't like America. They're anti-American. Now, I don't know why they're anti-American, because you can leave if you're anti-American. Nothing is stopping you. Go to Mexico, go to the Caribbean if you want to speak English still, and you don't want to learn the Spanish, you know, go to Canada, go somewhere and have that be that. You can leave. But people just, they want to exist in America and be kind of like spoiled kids, do nothing to contribute to society, and just take away from whatever they can, while at the same time hating it. It's kind of I'm not going to say kind of, it's a very childlike mentality to have. Thank you to Anna Banana for your donation with the thumbs up emoji. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Prepper Chris 1, who says, you're still the GOAT ABL. So glad to be a supporter. Thank you for that, man. It means a lot to me. Thank you to Brett Sansoms, who says, many Native American tribes fought each other way before white settlers showed up. Navajos and Apaches constantly raided Hopi Indian homes. Of course, they had slavery among natives before we even came. Before my ancestors came, before anybody white came, before anybody. Shout out to the the secret spaceship, who says, thanks, ABL. How much does YouTube challenge your channel? Not much. I don't really get a lot of problems. I'm pretty much good. Everything is pretty much monetized. I'm good to go. You know, maybe because I'm black and I'm protected. I don't know. Because some guys don't have that protection. They could be black. They don't really care. So I don't know. I just pretty much, you know, I call it how I see it. I give a lot of facts, and they can't really do nothing to that. Thank you to Yvonne Young for your donation. It's a #1 fan. Thank you to Team Jesus, who says, thank you with the emoji. Thank you for that. Thank you to Angel Rodriguez, who says, we just colonized and stole CHAZ from its native citizens. I'm such a bad country. Thank you to Super Sober Guy 1, who says, shout out from San Antonio, Texas. Peace. Thank you for that, boss. Definitely appreciate you. Oh, while I'm talking right now, like the video if you're not liked it yet. We got 3.8. So we got 3,800 likes. Go ahead, make that 4,000 if you can. Hit a like button. That'll just do wonders for me. And the algorithms, all that kind of good stuff. Thank you to Anubis Reloaded, who says, trying to get usage of Born in USA, just saying. Hey, that'd be good. Thank you to, let me see, Nippin, who says, congrats on 500K subscribers. Thank you for that, man. Hey, I'm just accelerating so fast. It might be 600K for you. I know it, man. Thank you for that. Thank you to Jay Greer, who says, ABL, always a voice of reason. Thank you. And thank you for your donation and your very kind words. Thank you to Olivia Kizup, who says, had to use the free outer word in our first Tatum post. You inspired me to make that comment. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Eric Michael for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Local Experimentalist, who says, make reproduction illegal. Reproduction? You talking about no more kids? Thank you to Anubis Reloaded, who says, I think it would be easier if everyone got COVID, then we would build an immunity to the virus. Simple, right? And death from it is fixing overpopulation. It seems pretty simple, don't it? It seems simple because they say that we have more cases, but we don't have any more deaths. It's not a spike in deaths. There's a big spike in cases, but not a big spike in deaths. So what's really going on? When the virus hit New York, the cases and the deaths are just out of control. But that's not happening across the country. So what's really happening? I feel like we all got it, or a lot of us got it, or been exposed to it, but herd immunity is still a real thing. Thank you to Cosmic Squirrel for the donation. Thank you to Anthony Stabil for a donation, or Stable, who says ABL is a GOAT. Thank you to Evodio Tovar, who says all these new people don't know who Ivan is. Shout out to Ivan. Thank you to Beth Marie Evans, who says wondering why Ivan is so jealous of you, ABL. Hey, that's normal. That's been going on since I've been a kid. That ain't nothing new. Thank you to D-Rock Harris, who says keep it up with the emoji. Thank you for that. Thank you to Ralston Hodge, who says keep doing you, ABL. Can't do nothing else but that. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Paul Lee's Pistols Gun Shop, who says great show. Thank you for your donation. Hey, we hit 4,000 likes. Thank you to everybody who hit the like button. I appreciate you for that. Thank you to Nacho Mommy, who says Nacho Mommy, that's hilarious. Nacho Mommy, man, is it rough on the phone, bro? Hey, it's rough to get on. It's rough to be on the phone, but it's like that. Thank you to Blackbeard, who says you, sir, have 3 first names, LOL. I've not heard that before ever in my life. You were the first one that ever told me that, ever. Thank you to Timothy Lenahan for the donation. Thank you to Greg D for the keep it up emoji donation. Definitely appreciate you for that. Thank you to Manny Martinez for a thumbs up. Thank you to TTB for the hat turn to the back and a thumbs up donation. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Maxwell Griffin, who says, just wanted to ask if anyone else sees the hypocrisy of LeBron James, my favorite player, by the way, building a charter school in Akron, but then not supporting school choice. I mean, people don't understand what they're doing. They say, I'm going to just vote Democrat regardless, not even understanding what they're talking about or what's going on and what the policies are. They just vote that way. It's a lot of ignorance going on. You want to do something for the community, but you don't understand how to actually get that done on a voting level. Interesting. Thank you for the donation. Thank you to Mr. Sir, who says, keep it up, ABL. God bless you, bro. Thank you for that. God bless you as well. Thank you to Harley Rider 1, who says, teach your kids to watch what happens to Hong Kong. They can see in real time what happens when socialism, communism takes over. Exactly. Thank you to Edsel Langhorn, who says, keep up the great work, ABL. Love your content. Thank you to Timothy Lenahan with the smile emoji and a donation. Thank you to Master Dummy for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to TTB for becoming an ABL supporter and upgrading to ABL Squad. Thank you to Dr. John Smith for becoming a member of the ABL Squad. Thank you to Harry Henderson, who says, how many slaves did Muhammad own? Probably a lot. Not sure how many. Thank you to Kevin C., who says, Missouri has castle doctrine all day long, and the couple in St. Louis used that castle doctrine, so there won't be any kind of legal problems to come their way. Thank you to Leo Mazzina for the donation. Thank you to Ronnie Jones for the donation. Thank you to Divine Feminine Queen, who says they shut the bars back down in Detroit. Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy. So, I mean, my thing is, how long are they going to stay closed? Are we going to do this every year? I mean, for how long will we keep going back and forth? That's the question I have. I said roll the dice and just get the virus. That's how I feel at this point. Thank you to Orlando, who says, keep up your great work. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Monica Mathers for the donation. Thank you to Twyla McKee, who says, up next, new swine flu direct from China. I saw that. They got a brand new swine flu that's 10 times more potent than the virus. What are we going to do? Stay home forever, tank the economy, borrow from China to get back on deck. How about that? Thank you to Maxwell Griffin, who says, can you give a shout out to the Red Cross? Free COVID antibody test with every donation, redcross.org. Thank you to Divine Feminine Queen, who says, heart waiting on my t-shirts, Twitter blocked my account. They're watching all Trump tweets. That's crazy. I've not even been blocked yet on Twitter. Thank you to SR, who says, shout out to all the truck drivers out there. Keep America rolling, my brothers and sisters. Yeah, shout out to all the truck drivers on the road making it happen. Thank y'all for what y'all do. Thank you to, Noreen Ryan, who says, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam signed into law effective today, July 1st, 2020, photo ID no longer required to vote in Virginia. So basically, they could just pretty much scam and fraud the election and get away with it, huh? That's what's going on down there in Virginia, unfortunately. Thank you to Robert Wright for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to C. William B. for the donation that says, Yuri Bezmenov, Thomas Schumann, ideological subversion. I don't know why more haven't been checked this out, but it explains everything. Yeah, it's really a good talk. If you've not seen Yuri Bezmenov, former KGB agent, on YouTube, the talk that he did, you got to watch it. Thank you to D. Rock Harris, who says, ABL, much love. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Killer Sushi 99, who says, okay, ABL, how long is the takeover of New York City hog going to last? When they give an estimate, the police are already pulling back. It might be months. Hey, it might just be camping out. It might be Occupy Wall Street all over again. So who knows? It could be months. It might be their new home. Thank you to This Is America for the Emotions, the #1 fan. Thank you to Demonic Loki, who says, Asia invented racism. I learned it from Archer. Thank you to Hudson Jackson II, who says, the Chi-Coms are now using the I can't breathe to remind us of our police issues when it is they who still have to address air pollution in their cities. Exactly. You go to Beijing, Shanghai, it's like walking back in Newports every 4 hours. You just inhaling straight smoke all day long. They are not an advanced society at all over in China. That's a fact. Thank you to Contractor J for the thank you donation with the emoji. Thank you to Mandatory Care, who says just #keep fighting. Thank you to In the Deep Blue 2 for becoming a member of the ABL team with an upgrade to ABL Superstar. Appreciate you for that one, boss. Thank you to AR, who says, love you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Thank you to C. William B, who says, Yuri Bezmenov, Thomas Schumann, Ideological Subversion. He is ex-KGB, very informative and truly scary. Yes. Thank you to Carol Kine for becoming an ABL superstar. Thank you to Bill M for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Girl of the Valley, who says, long time listener, love the show, and thanks for all you do. Happy 4th. Happy 4th to you as well. Hopefully you enjoy your day. When is the 4th? Any day. On Saturday? Yeah, happy 4th to you guys. Thank you to Demon King. Oh, hold on, I missed it. Let's go back to Demon King right quick. All right. Who says, sorry, I won't support a group named Skin Color Lives Matter. I really don't care what this caller says, even without an agenda, just saying. Thank you to C. William B, who says, at ABL, Yuri Bezmenov. I read that one. Thank you to AR for the donation. Thank you to Justin805 for the donation. Thank you to Richard Huddleston, who says, thanks for your voice of reason, brother. Respectfully, Chief Petty Officer. I know you, that was a typo. Chief Petty Officer, U.S. Navy retired. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Seven, who says, I recently discovered your videos and decided to smash the subscribe button today. Keep up the good work. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to New Wave Bossa Nova for the donation that says, great stream, thumbs up. Thank you for that. Thank you to John D for your donation. Thank you to Israel Cancel, who says, keep it up. Thank you to Terry Morton for your donation. Thank you to I am Amp3 Pimp. Hopefully I said that right. Who says, #ain't black, let's make it trend. Thank you to Steve Cutts, who says, ABL, Jericho and Tatum, my 3 Abraham Lincolns. I like that. That's a good party. That's a good squad to be with. Thank you to John D, who says, the problem with the black community today is that they can't be told that they are wrong. Thank you to Brandon Ortiz, who says, here from Texas with the wave. Thanks, ABL. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. And thank you to Jillian Pavlik, who says, your awesome support from Indiana. And thank you to Charlotte Cannon for your donation. I appreciate you all. And that will be a wrap for me. Thank you to everybody that's watched the 4,100 or more likes on the video. Thank you to everybody that's Patreon, that's PayPal, that watch, share, told a friend about me, subscribers, everybody. Thank y'all for what y'all do at the time. Shout out to all the moderators doing a great job in the building. We got Bill from the Hills, Michelle A, True Helper, Killer Sushi, Elijah Jean, Ansel, Shreebs. Thank you all for being here. Rapper 10,000. You guys are fantastic. Couldn't do it without you. And that will be right for me tonight. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.